560 QAM. Talk to Neil.
Call 567-0560.
Toll free in Dade and Broward.
Or pound 560 on your cell phone.
The opinions of Neil, his guests and callers do not necessarily represent those of the Beasley Broadcast Group, staff, advertisers, or agencies. Now, here's Neil Rogers on 560 QAM.
I'm dying over here. Estoy muriendo aquí.
My life loving you, live right, read the good book too. And when it's time to head south and rest, I wanna go where the living's the best. I wanna live my life in song, wanna live where ravens don't can have sunlight my rising from me on those golden rains. I wanna die in Florida.
All right.
I wanna die in Florida. Where the living is dead. I wanna die. Oh, I wanna
So let me ask you one question. What do we do now?
I don't know.
Oh. No, seriously, what the hell are we going to do now?
I don't know.
Come to work this morning. I was up till 2:20 in the morning, till all the networks. It was MSNBC first, and then breathlessly Dan Rather came on about 10 seconds afterward, declaring GW the winner. At that point, he was 48,000 votes ahead in Florida, allegedly, at 2:20 in the morning. I get up this morning. I turn on CNN at about 7:15. And they're going,
I don't know.
Yeah, like that. Bada beep, bada boop, bada bop. And all of a sudden, instead of Bush with 271 electoral votes, Gore's got 260. Bush is still stuck there at 246. Oregon, which is meaningless, is too close to call yet. It's meaningless. And it all, like I told you yesterday, comes down to Florida. The only problem when I told you yesterday, I had no idea. You see, when we had several calls yesterday, including the one woman that kept repeating it over and over, and I got impatient with her. But now it's hard to comprehend unless you see it. And they showed it again this morning, and they showed it last night several times, the Palm Beach County ballots. Now, let's face it. The old Yentas in Century Village there, in Cemetery Village, they were a little bit confused, you know?
I don't know.
Well, I do. And it's clear as a bell, because when you look at the breakdown in the state, first of all, let me say this. Bill Nelson wins the Senate race by 5 points. Now, you can say, okay, some of the Nelson people probably were the Nader people. And by the way, for you Nader people, nice going. Just like I predicted, you did not get anywhere near 5% nationwide. You do not get your $12 million. You do not pass go, collect a goddamn dime, but you did screw up the election if it turns out this way. With less than 2% in Florida, the Nader people screwed it up. Yeah, F you. That's what we say to the Nader people. For the ego of a craggy, old, tired man, you screwed up the election maybe. But anyway, I'm looking at in the newspaper this morning, and now we finally got the total results for Buchanan. Now, Buchanan statewide got a little less than 0.3%. Not 3%, 0.3%. In Broward County, he got 0.2%. In Dade County, he got, let's see, I got newer numbers. He's got less, look at this, 0.09%. That's 0.09%. Yeah, that's right, 0.09%. Not even a tenth of a point. But in Palm Beach County, he gets 0.8 of a point, which may not sound all that significant, but the fact is, he in Palm Beach County gets 3,407 votes. Now, what does that translate to? Well, let me tell you this. You look around the other counties, for example, in the Broward, Buchanan gets 789, in Brevard, 570, in Hillsborough, 845, and, of course, in Dade, 561, keeping in mind that you have a lot of right-wingers in Dade County. I don't want to say who they are. And number two, Dade County is like half again as big as Palm Beach in terms of people who voted. But in Palm Beach County, mysteriously, 3,407 votes for Pat Buchanan. So when that lady called in hysterical yesterday, and we had several other calls about the fact that the ballot, and how can you have a statewide election, a national election and a statewide election, where there's a difference from county to county? I can understand they got a lot of different issues on the ballot, so on other pages, maybe they add on other pages, but the idea that they should have the candidates for president on two different pages, so that here's G.W. Bush on line 1, here on the opposite page across from it on line 2 is Pat Buchanan, and back on line 3, with a gap in the middle on the left-hand page, here's Al Gore. Well, it's just kind of logical. You would assume that line 2 would be Al Gore, and a lot of people punched on line 2, not realizing that they were punching opposite Buchanan, who was on the page across, on the right-hand page. Confusing at best, unacceptable at worst. In addition to which, Al Gore is going to win the national popular vote. There's no question about that. The margin keeps shrinking a little bit every hour, but they're getting close to the end. There were over 100 million votes cast, and Gore's going to win by about 230,000 votes. Popular vote. What time was it? About 10 till 8, I think, last night that they came out with the thing, Florida goes to Gore. Put it up on the map. Then here's Michigan goes to Gore. Finally, Pennsylvania goes to Gore. And people are going like, all right, Gore, people like me. Looks pretty good. Then all of a sudden they showed W there sitting with his clan, the Bush clan, in that hotel. And he seemed awfully cool and confident, didn't he? On the phone with his connections down here. Oh, yeah, well, he's confident. They got a big lead in the vote, and their votes coming in from that upper central part, which, of course, they weren't coming in from up there. Most of Dade and Broward, by that point, hadn't even hardly been counted at all, which we had that staggering turnout all over the country and all statewide, especially in Dade and Broward. Over 80%, almost 90%. Did you see the one precinct in Deerfield Beach? 98% of the voters in Deerfield Beach. You know who those people are? Oh, that's right. That is correct. So you've already got, now I realize people are going to talk about the 30,000 ballots, and I should point out right away, because a lot of people are at work or in their cars, there's an automatic recount. For people who are wondering, what the hell do we do now?
I don't know.
Well, we know this. The Division of Elections in Tallahassee says the law mandates when it's this close, when it's this suspicious, that an automatic recount has to take place, and it must be completed by the end of business day tomorrow. Not today, by the end of the business day tomorrow. Plus, since I, have the apartment over in Amsterdam and I spend a lot of time over there, I do send mail back and forth across the pond. That can take up to 2 weeks, sometimes more. So the 30,000 absentee ballots, which they say most of them are military, and Bush will do very well with those, and there's no doubt about that, but that could take weeks for those to come in. The real question is, how is it that when I went to bed at 2:20 in the morning and all the networks were declaring G.W. Bush as the next president, he was allegedly 48,000 votes ahead in Florida, and at that point, that was with 98% of the precincts counted. And then I wake up this morning and it comes to, in fact, I have a fax here that says, what time was it that it was, at 3:45 a.m., he was ahead by 224 votes. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hang on, I'll get you all on the phone. People obviously have something to say. 9 minutes after 10 at 560 QM.
No portion of this program may be reproduced without the express written permission of WQAM BC Broadcast Group Incorporated.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Oh!
Now, they just showed on CNN that ballot again, and they left it on there long enough that you really had, I'm talking about the Palm Beach County ballot. And I wish we had TV for just 30 seconds so I could demonstrate to you just how grotesque it is. They have Pat Buchanan, Reform Party, on the second page. Here are the 2 pages laying there flat on those little 2 prongs. And Bush is on top. Buchanan is kind of like just slightly below to the right. And then Gore is underneath Bush. The problem is that there are 2 little places to punch. And they're both within the square of where Gore's name is. Now, they do have little tiny arrows, but if you don't have the greatest eyesight, it took me like 30 seconds to notice how you're supposed to tell. So if you punch the one above the bottom one, assuming that you're voting for Gore and assuming, which I'm sure a lot of people would, that he should be number 2 on a ballot, since it's basically a 2-man race, then you're really voting for Buchanan. This is why Palm Beach County vote was totally bogus. Totally bogus. Here's a Lady Mobile in Plantation. Hello? Lady Mobile. Well, she's waiting for the phone to catch up. She's been on there a long time. Hello?
Oh, hi, Neil. Wait,
Yes,
let me
ma'am.
just turn down my radio because I was
Okay.
on the treadmill. You know, leave it to Florida to screw things up, right? The other thing, I just kept thinking that if Gore had won his home state, he would be president right now. That
Yeah.
would have put him 271.
Well, that's true.
Huh?
That's true, but he didn't. Okay, well, listen, your phone's crapping out and go back and work it off. Here's a poll question for today. Do you believe the results of the election in Florida are honest? Yes, no, or don't know? Do you believe the results of the election in Florida are honest? Yes, no, don't know. And you really can't blame the people of Florida because they turned out, I'll blame some of those Native people, but they turned out in massive numbers, record-breaking numbers. Did a hell of a job. The dark folks showed up. The women showed up. Toothless or green old Cubans showed up. I mean, every constituency you'd expect. Everybody showed up that you could want. But somewhere along the line, there's a stench of cow manure that emanates from this whole thing, back and forth and up and down. And 1 minute it's 48,000 votes, and now it's 224. Just like the thing between Elaine Bloom and Clay Shaw. When I went to bed, Elaine Bloom was 5 votes ahead out of about 500,000. 5 votes ahead. And as of this morning, I still don't know what the hell happened with that. Because the newspapers, of course, are... See, that's one of the problems, you people in the newspaper business. I understand. It's not like live radio or TV. But you have a deadline. The Herald put out an edition. I wondered why I didn't get my Herald till 7:30 this morning. Usually it's there at about 5 o'clock. They put out their first edition that said Bush wins. So did the New York Post, a couple of other papers. So then I guess they had to, like, call all those back and say, oh, deliver those. We screwed up. And then they came up with a new one that says... not over yet. I think that they had 3 different versions, and the final one, at least in Broward, my paper says not over yet. Bush lead in Florida dissipates, vanishes into thin air. And let me say it again, if you missed the numbers, 100% of the votes are in, except for the and those people that keep talking about absentee ballots, all the absentee ballots that were cast within the state, locally, those have all been counted. The only ones that haven't been counted are the roughly 30,000 overseas absentee ballots. If you remember a few years ago, everybody thought that Buddy McKay, even as much of a yahoo as he was, Buddy McKay had won that Connie Mack seat in the Senate. The Connie Mack eventually won because later in the week, about 4 or 5 days later, sure enough, here come those absentee ballots. Connie Mack won. And they said, hey, buddy, bye-bye. 1,785 is the latest difference. Bush ahead of Gore in Florida, 1,785 out of 6 million votes. 1,785. And I'll say it again, and I realize that, the absentee ballots from overseas may make it a moot point. They may put Bush way over the edge if you assume that the other votes from this state were honest, which I don't assume. That's why I'm asking that poll question. Well, in fact, it's not on there yet. But we do know it's got to be. Just common sense tells you that at least 2,500 and probably close to 3,000 bogus votes that would have the people trying to vote for Gore who wound up voting for Pat Buchanan in Palm Beach. And whoever came up with that ballot in Palm Beach County, that person should be in jail. I mean, talk about voter fraud. Talk about ineptitude. Talk about just doing your best to screw up the populace. That's just unbelievable. Tragedy. Oh, no, but we had to have 2 separate pages because there was all that. Well, then make an extra page. You can make as many pages on there as you want. You just keep turning the pages, and you punch your hole, if I can say that. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Oh, I don't know.
Hey, leave it up to Elaine Blum to give her victory speech before the whole thing was done, huh?
Well, how did it come out? Do we have a further...
Well, I called Channel 4, and they said that Clay Shaw won.
By how much?
They didn't say. They said they might have a recount on that, too. But, you know, it's really funny.
Neil Rogers got.
Yeah.
Hey, that the lady or ladies or whoever called you about that thing in Palm Beach, if I had punched the wrong notch, I would have gotten someone over to me and told them that I made a mistake.
You know, but you don't understand. You don't know that you're making a mistake. You have no way of knowing that.
Well, how do they know they made a mistake then?
Because now that it's been discussed afterward and they're showing it, in addition to what you see, they must have made a mistake because Buchanan has got 3,400 votes in Palm Beach County, and he's doing like a couple of hundred here and a couple hundred there in every other county in the state.
Well, it's not 100% sure that people made a mistake then. You're just assuming.
Yeah, okay, sir. To you. No, it's not 100% sure. It is 110% sure. I mean, if you can't even agree on that, then there's no point in talking to you. You're a jackass. I mean, yeah, here Gore wins, and I'm one of those for years. I've said, get rid of the Electoral College. It's an anachronism. It's a disaster. It's ridiculous. And it still would have been very exciting, and it would have been a cliffhanger. And either way, any reasonable person would have been willing to abide by. In fact, Bush was ahead by 600,000 votes most of the night until, especially the California votes started coming in, which has got, you know, that humongous population out there, and that kept getting closer and closer, and now Gore pulled about 250,000 ahead, and he's still 231,000 ahead in the popular vote. But for God's sakes, this electoral college that basically says that if you live in a big state, your vote means more than if you live in Delaware, or in New Hampshire, or in Maine, or in any of these other little bumfork states. Well, what kind of crap is that? It's supposed to be one man, or one person, I guess we say now, one person, one vote, with an equal value. Oh, but Florida's got 25 electoral votes, and California's got this. Who the hell cares? Talk about campaign reform. That's got to be the first thing that happens, is get rid of the Electoral College now. Say bye-bye to it. Here's the mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Neil, your thing came through as with all these people voting for Nader. Wouldn't it have been better if Gore had maybe offered him something on his cabinet so that he could have brought him into the fold and maybe got the votes that he needed?
No. Why would he do that?
Well,
in addition to which, Nader was not in any negotiating mood. He became more and more hostile and more adamant and more on an ego trip. And the fact is, the overwhelming majority of people around the country, the Nader vote pretty much evaporated in the last day. But he
in Florida.
Huh?
I said except here
in
Florida where he got 87,000 votes.
No, he got 97,000.
Right.
97,000 votes.
And that's the difference in the election right now.
Well, the difference is 1,700, so you figure it out.
Yeah.
He got 4% in Oregon, which is why it's still too close to call there. And he damn near screwed it up in Wisconsin. He got 4% there. So I'll say it again, just what I thought. He didn't do well enough to get his 5%. He's not going to get his $12 million. He's not going to get one penny in federal matching funds. He didn't prove a goddamn thing other than he's a crusty old curmudgeon who doesn't give a crap about anybody else beside himself. And like I tried desperately to tell people, he doesn't even endorse the whole platform of the Green Party. It wasn't about the Green Party. It wasn't about a third party. It wasn't about reform. It was about Ralph Nader. A petulant old man on an ego trip. But I mean, nothing you can do about that. Those votes are there for whatever they are, good, better, or worse, and you can't really prove who they were going to vote for, although we have a pretty good idea. Most people who voted for Nader were not going to be voting for Al Gore. I mean, for George Bush. What the hell am I saying? I'm so confused. I was up till 2:30 in the morning, went to bed thinking, well, okay, whatever it is, it is. There's GW. We'll survive it. Have we survived worse?
No.
Well, close to it. Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Another sleepless night here in Pembroke Pines.
Yeah.
I tell you. You know, I was flipping between all the networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, and so on.
Yeah, I was too.
One didn't have New Mexico yet, one didn't have Nevada yet, one didn't have this yet.
Right.
And then it came up later on in the evening about Pembroke Pines.
Pembroke Pines, yeah.
about Palm Beach and all the problems that they were having, and then now you wake up this morning and you hear that there's all this rudeness going on between the Bush and the Gore party about the congratulations, and then there was a confrontation that they had mentioned that nobody commented on. So it just shows you that, this whole election is just one big
pile of crap. You can smell it. In fact, if you open up your window this morning, just put your nose out there, you can smell it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Neil, and God help us all.
Good luck to us. Here's a fact that says, and of course this is just anybody can write this stuff, but it's rumored that the ballot was designed by Jeb Bush's secretary, for what it's worth. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they were on the phone with their connections down here. I wonder how many dead people voted this time. I guess maybe just enough to make sure that the margin was safe until we get those ballots coming in the mail. And, of course, that thing with the absentee ballots, well, we don't want to question anybody's integrity, do we?
Uh-huh.
Oh, now look at this. Look at this. Now it's 249 to 246. They've just taken, I guess, Wisconsin away from Gore and given it still undecided.
And there's things were hopping here last night. Right
oh, no, not now. What is that? Now it just, that must have been a tape from last night. I don't know. It must be instant replay. Now we got it back. Wow. Here's Tamarack. Hello.
Yes, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to let you know of another screw-up with the poll system in Tamarack.
Okay.
My wife went down to vote yesterday. Now, we just moved back to Fort Lauderdale roughly about 3 months ago, and she submitted her address change to get her new voter's registration card for Tamarack a month and a half ago. Well, we both submitted at the same time. I got mine. She didn't get hers. So she went down there to say, hey, look, I need to cast my vote. What do I need to do? I haven't gotten my card.
Mm-hmm.
The people in Tamarack go, oh, we have to make a phone call over to voters, to the voters headquarters to get permission to allow you to vote. Well, the lady comes back and said, oh, the phone lines are down. You're not going to be able to vote.
The phone lines are down?
The phone lines are down. You're not going to be able to vote, and handed you and she said, if you want to come back, if you want to come back and check, but the phones have been down for hours. And here's Jane Carroll's number. You can call her tomorrow and figure out what's wrong with your address change.
Unbelievable.
So she wasn't allowed to vote for Gore yesterday. Now, how many people did that happen to?
There was somebody else next there.
We'll find out. We had one of those yesterday. We had a guy who was like...
my wife had 3 people in there waiting with her, waiting for them to get in contact with people, so they were allowed to vote yesterday.
Yeah, I think we ought to do it all over again in Florida. Let's do it again.
I agree with you. I totally agree that...
I mean, that's not going to happen, but let's do it again. Let's give it a shot.
She wasn't allowed to go to West Palm and vote because she's required to vote in the district that you live in at that time. So she couldn't go to West Palm, even though we were just living there 3 months ago. She wasn't allowed to drive to West Palm to cast her vote. She said, no, you're not allowed to vote there.
Yeah. Okay, good luck to us, pal.
All right, thanks.
Cross your fingers and your legs and your eyes. Yeah, here, thanks, Rich. Rich, who did vote correctly, faxes me a copy. Confusion at Palm Beach County polls. Some Al Gore supporters may have mistakenly voted for Pat Buchanan because of the ballots, the third hole on the ballot. And here's the picture for anybody. I'll hold it up. Look in your speaker. There it is. The 2 holes, hole number 2 and hole number 3. Can we say that? No. Are right next to the Al Gore in that box. Oh, my God. Only in Florida, man. Only in a godforsaken, half-assed. And what the... Oh, how'd you like the deal last night at about 1:30 in the morning when they were talking about the fact that, the sheriffs they're riding around trying to find the guys who got these boxes of all these ballots in Broward County, you know? Yeah. They had to send out a search party to find thousands and thousands of ballots in Broward as of like 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. You didn't see that? Terry Sanders was on there going, but like that. 28 after 10 at 560 QAM.
I'm dying over here.
Way down south, at Hackensack, there's a town called Tamarack where you live. On a cul-de-sac, and to bet you about the boy next door. They all drive for half a mile, and they wear that Gucci smile, and they stand in line a while waiting on the early bird. Leave Manhattan, the Bronx and Queens, Staten Island too. Leave the Brooklyn, the tunnel, and don't look down the Jersey, turn back to Tamarack, stroll the mall, and the sidewalk sails from your hair as you wrap your nails. Tell your friends you're going to Bloomingdale, then they won't be far behind. Manhattan, the Bronx and Queens, Staten Island too. Leave the Brooklyn, Toronto, and don't look down the Jersey, turn back to Tamarack, roll the mall, and the sidewalk sails from your hair as you wrap your nails. Tell your friends you're going to Bloomingdale, they won't be far behind. Way down south, past Hackensack, there's a town called Tamarack where you live on a cul-de-sac, and to bet you about the boy next door. Way down south, past Hackensack, there's a town called Tamarack. Way down south, past Hackensack, there's a town called Tamarack. Way down south.
1034, 560 WQM. We need Johnny Most. Let's big up the old Celtics announcer Johnny Most to scream, "We was robbed!" Because I think we were. Now, here's the fact that says exit polls in Florida show Gore up by 6 points. That's why the network's called the race early. And I do understand that this state has this inordinate number of absentee ballots, which were heavily in favor of Bush, and we had a couple of callers that kept reminding us of that every day, and they were right. But when the Bureau of Elections in Tallahassee doesn't know how many absentee ballots they sent out, something's rotten in Denmark. Absentee ballots don't just show up under your door. They don't fall out of a tree somewhere, whether it's a citrus tree or not. You have to acquire an absentee ballot. People have to request them. And you think if there's any validity to the election at all, the people in Tallahassee have to know that number. The people in each county have to know that number. How many absentee ballots have you sent out? Is that rocket science?
No.
I don't think so. Pretty basic. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, well, originally they were saying there were as many as, first it was 350,000. Then it was 500,000, and then at about 1:30 in the morning when all this shenanigans was going on, well, now they're saying maybe as many as close to 1 million absentee ballots in Florida, not counting the ones overseas. Do you think there's a little bit of difference between 350,000 and almost 1 million?
Uh-huh.
One would think so in this godforsaken state. Here's the fact that says throughout the state the ballots did not all look alike. Only in Palm Beach is reported the ballot looked different in its appearance. The widely reported confusion of voters in Palm Beach caused mistaken candidate selection. Why not do the Democratic thing to do and avoid the Palm Beach County election results and repeat the election process in Palm Beach County using the same ballot forms as we're using the balance of the state? To which I say, oh! Yeah, but of course they're not going to do that. I don't know how you do that. I think they just ought to avoid the whole goddamn election and do it all over again, nationwide. Just do the whole thing over. And again, there's no provision for doing that. And if they do throw it into the House or into the Congress, it's going to wind up with Bush winning because the old Congress and the new one, whichever one you pick, whichever one you like the best, they're both Republican. And certainly there's a great preponderance of states that voted for Bush as opposed to the number of states that Gore won. You got it?
I don't know.
Here's Boca. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how's it going?
Great.
Hey, got a couple things for you. Regardless of who ends up winning,
yes,
the one thing that was clear is that the media were made to look like fools on this whole thing,
yeah,
as far as calling Florida goes.
Well, it's not the first time that's happened. I've seen that before.
Well, obviously it ends up being a linchpin state, and, being the one that we're all waiting for.
Yeah.
Another thing, you made a comment about the vote count before you turned in for the night, that Bush being up by almost 50,000.
48,000.
So don't you think if anybody is going to be concerned, it would be the Republicans as far as, how did that gap close so quickly in that short a time?
That's what I'm saying, because I have a fax here, and it's long after I went to bed. But 3:45 in the morning, all of a sudden, they took they took Florida out of the Bush column because his lead had dropped to 224 votes.
Sure. So any suspicions would
now how do you lose over 48,000 votes in an hour and 25 minutes, which is from the time I went to bed, and they were showing 98% of the votes counted? How did he lose? In other words, first of all, there couldn't have been much more than that many votes to be counted, and Gore would have had to get every one of them, which is ridiculous, because a lot of them were coming in from Daytona and Volusia County. Right. They weren't all from Dade or Broward. Broward was 100% by that point.
Right. So that's if anything, don't you think that casts a little suspicion on the Democrats?
On the Democrats?
Sure.
How do you figure that?
Well, if how could Bush have that gap closed so quickly?
So here's the point that you're missing. Can I say it?
Sure.
And that is this: if you can erase 46,000 votes, why wouldn't you erase 48? Why wouldn't you come up with 52?
Sure.
So they have a lead. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
I gotcha.
The logical thing is that he was never ahead by 48,000 votes in the first place.
Okay.
And what were those boxes of ballots doing, being driven around all over Dade and Broward County until 2:15 in the morning last night?
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, just one comment. I did vote in Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
I got a sample ballot ahead of time.
Right.
So I knew that 2-page format for the presidential thing was coming. And when I mark up the sample ballot, I just circle the numbers, and then when I get in there, I'm just punching numbers.
Right.
At that point. I could see how somebody could have gotten confused, even if they did that and, flipped the stylus into the other one instead. But, again, if you just kind of voted by the numbers and you got a sample ballot, you shouldn't have had any problem. But based on the way Buchanan's votes came in Palm Beach County, it's certainly
3,407 votes.
Now, was that the most he got in the state in any county?
The next highest was Pinellas County, 1,012. Most of the counties he had 500, 600, 700, 561 in Dade County. 561 in Dade County and 3,400 in Palm Beach County, which has got 200,000 less folks showed up to vote.
Yeah, interesting. Well, depending on how the absentee comes in, I guess what you said before will be true.
I say let's just call the whole thing off.
I hear you.
Okay.
Thanks, Neil.
Let's stick with Bubba. Do we have a number, by the way, nephew? Do we have any kind of a number, or are we just forgetting about that? Oh, after 12. Oh, he said that as soon as we get the election results in, we'll also get the number from Specs on how much we got for Planned Parenthood. Joe Costello in the QM van will be at the Citgo gas station at 50 Southeast 8th Avenue in Hialeah from noon to 2 today. With the best of Neil CDs, keychains, and T-shirts, free passes to the Bobby Labonte Luncheon at the Outback Steakhouse in Kendall tomorrow from noon to 2 p.m. Bobby Labonte must be a race car guy, or Joe wouldn't be involved. And also free tickets to the Lennox Pole Day, see, I told you, at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Noon to 2 today, our good buddy Joe Costello at the Citgo gas station, 50 Southeast 8th Avenue in Hialeah, where they voted for that stadium. Oh! That nobody knew anything about. They said, oh yeah, we like it. Just like they said, oh yeah, we like that bullet train too. We don't know where the money's coming from, but yeah, we'll vote for it.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Oh, look at this. They got Jesse on here. He said...
In Tallahassee.
Yeah, he said if it doesn't fit, you're full of Schmidt. Something like that. Here's a person who faxes said this person's ballot took 4 tries to get hooked in properly so they could stick it in there right. And there's nothing worse than that happening. Here's one. It says, Ed in Palm Beach. I live in Palm Beach County, vote in a precinct in a small golf and country club community filled with Republicans. When I went to cast my ballot for Gore, I almost voted for Pat Buchanan. I'm 48, have good eyesight. When I started to punch the ballot, I noticed that the hole wasn't quite lined up with Gore Lieberman. That's when I became aware I was about to cast a vote for that idiot Buchanan. When I put my ballot in the box, I told a lady whom I know that I almost made a mistake because of the way it was laid out. She simply smiled and said there wasn't anything that could be done about it. It didn't surprise me to hear of the trouble this morning. In an election this close and this important, they should make sure they get the damn thing right. Something should be done, though, although I know it's a pipe dream, etc. Okay, and belated happy birthday. Thank you, Ed. Also, here's somebody that stayed up until 5 this morning or beyond and said they had some of the legal experts on there, so-called experts, yeah, who said that since the Florida vote is fishy and Gore won the popular vote, a judge could rule this election in Gore's favor. So say, I mean, that doesn't make it so because some legal guy said that. But
what kind of judge?
A Democratic judge. Hanging judge. A paid-off judge. Just like the judge in Missouri who said, oh, yeah, let them stay open until 11 o'clock in St. Louis. That's where all the Schwarzers are. And didn't help. And, of course, they didn't. You see that? That was a nice try. See, this is supposed to be a great exercise in democracy, and they finally get everybody, even though nobody was supposed to care this time, and there were 2 really crappy candidates, which I would agree with that, 4 crappy candidates, and but nevertheless, people said, okay, we're going to get fired up and pissed off and go out there, even me, and do something. Even that damn Norm Kent voted, I bet.
Neil, good morning.
But only once. Yes.
Neil, good morning.
Good morning.
Listen, it appears that there are a number of people, like one of your earlier callers, that say they pre-registered and showed up in West Broward precincts like Tamarack and wanted to vote for Al Gore but were told they could not vote, and that they showed up and were told that they were not on the rolls when they had registered. Those people that, like that last caller, should call this number to make their claim. What's going to happen is they're going to have to post their, give their name and number so their allegation can be explored and investigated.
Mm-hmm.
And the number to call is in the 954 area code, 491-2000. Certainly welcome to call you and say it on the air to you. And to make it a valid claim, they need to call 491-2000, and they will refer them to the right people to explore and investigate the validity of their claim.
And then what? Then do they get a chance to vote? I mean, they can check and see if they voted or not.
Well, what we have is a number of people that showed up in West Broward precincts to vote for Al Gore and were told they couldn't. And individuals are trying to amass and gather these people because if there's going to be a recount, and
well, there is going to be a recount.
Well, right.
It's going on right now.
If during the course of this recount, individuals who feel they should have been given a right to vote were not given a right to vote, then they're going to possibly explore legal options for those people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not enough to just call on the air.
No, I realize that.
I
can't
need
do
to have
anything
them
for
call in and give their name and number.
Now, what about the Palm Beach situation with the screwed up ballots there in Buchanan? The 3,400, most of which were bogus Buchanan votes.
Well, I've just listened to Congressman Wexler on MSNBC and watched and seen a picture of the ballot, and it's clear that those ballots are so confusing,
right,
and the numbers are so skewed and absurd, and there can't be any greater irony that in a heavily Jewish district that would have clearly gone for Gore, that a lot of those ballots are going for Buchanan in an error.
Mm-hmm.
The question is what kind of remedy would have to be fashioned to correct that, and that will be up to some individual entity or organization to file some sort of legal action and ask a court to fashion judicial relief, if any is appropriate. I don't know what the remedy would be at this point, but it's clear, and it's ironic in an election that in the state overall is at this point 1,700 for Bush, 2,000 or 3,000 votes the other way clearly would swing it for Gore, and clearly in that district it would have been Gore votes. So it might be up to a judge ultimately to determine that that ballot was so confusing that it caused people to make an error unfairly, but the question is what kind of remedy he can fashion out of that, and I just don't know yet.
I don't think anybody knows because we've never had anything like this ever.
No, there hasn't been anything like it ever, but one of the things that could clearly be cured is if there are a number of people that say they should have been allowed a right to vote and were not given a right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there are many people like that in West Broward, which could have been clearly Gore country. So those people should call 491-2000 and share their story with those people answering the phones there.
Okay, thanks, Norm.
Okay.
Fine. Let's see, look at this. Nader in a two-way race, Gore wouldn't have voted 47-21 for Gore. In a two-way race. They're doing the exit poll on who you would have voted for, the Nader people. Shut up. But at any rate, so 47, so in other words, about two-thirds, right? So if you take two-thirds of the 97,000 votes the Nader got here, only 1.7%, but nevertheless almost 100,000. That's like say 62 to 35. 62,000 to 35,000. That would be a 27,000 vote advantage for Gore there. That could overcome even the difference in those out of the country, out of this world. I think we got some coming in from outer space. However many it takes, that's how many are coming in. And for the guy before that was giving me a song and dance about how it looks real bad when the Democrats were able to cut the margin from 48,000. See, the Democrats aren't in control of the machinery of this state at the moment. Last time I checked, we have a Republican governor, Republican legislature. They're the ones who pull all the strings. I'm not suggesting that any of those sheriff's cars that were driving around, wandering around 1:30 in the morning. Look, well, I mean, what kind of a system is that anyway? It's kind of like playing that game, who do you trust? Pick up the ballot, the boxes full of all our ballots, and trust to make sure that all of them are going to wind up there. You know what I'm saying? And the longer the delay is, it makes you kind of wonder if they're sitting around, just like some of the mailmen do, you know, picking through the mail. Oh, here's a couple of good Social Security checks. That looks good. I'll take those. I'll take this one. Yeah. Here's somebody who says, I'm a darky and I voted. I was just listening to WEDR and Senator Kerry Meek said they found ballot boxes in several districts that are in black neighborhoods and a couple in Broward. They found ballot boxes. The numbers the media are giving out to the public are incorrect. It's not a difference of 1,700. It's only 263 votes apart. I smell something very fishy, says our dark-complected friend. How do you like that? They found ballot boxes.
Maybe under somebody's desk.
Yeah, under somebody's desk, or maybe in the toilet somewhere. Maybe in their anus. I don't know. They're just hanging around here and there. And thank God that this happened in a state that we can trust a lot. That we don't have dead people voting in, and we never have a fixed election here in Florida. Yeah. If you voted on our poll, you might want to recheck it, because I made Eric change the wording on it, because I want you to understand it's about the Florida election. Do you believe the election results in Florida are honest? 42 no, 12 yes, 5 don't know. 5 say.
I don't know.
But they're still perplexed and can't figure it out.
Democrats, 7 still undecided, undetermined, just too close to call.
Shut up, Frank. Okay, here's a call from Miami. Hello.
Good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Neil, listen, I was listening to you, and NPR radio this morning was reporting missing ballot boxes. And furthermore, you know, the people that say that their vote doesn't count, their vote does count. And I spoke to people yesterday that said, you know, I didn't vote for whatever reason. And, I mean, that could certainly make a difference as well. I used to be a Republican, and I voted for Al Gore. And I remember what Ronald Reagan said, how he used to be a Democrat and how the Republican Party had left him behind.
Right.
Man, I feel the same way. It is amazing. I called the White House at 202-456-1414. They said to speak to your local election board. Now, that's like leaving the fox in charge of the chicken coop.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Call up Don Corleo and see if you can straighten it out.
With all of the things that we have seen here in Florida, the things that we've seen here locally in Miami-Dade County, it's just amazing. It's sickening.
And of course, keep in mind that the boxes of ballots, evidently, at least from this one factor, that are they're finding now, are from black neighborhoods. Now, blacks in Florida voted for Gore 93-7%. 93%. So you're talking about boxes full of Gore votes that are out there floating around somewhere.
You know, this election has been historic. I read today in the Miami Herald, one that I was able to see, that results and turnout has not been seen like this since 1916, a little bit before my time. But nevertheless, a historic proportion. I mean, the people need to make some phone calls, and they need to stand up, and they need to be heard, and they need to be counted. They really do, because it's amazing in an election like this. You know, it's very important.
Amen. Okay, get with it, pal. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Neil.
Here's a fact that says we must tell everyone in Palm Beach County to fax 850-922-3969 and complain about the ballot. It is urgent. Please spread the word now. Now, there are stupid people, seniors, and you know something, you don't have to be stupid. I realize that the elderly, like, maybe their eyesight isn't all that good. Maybe they're a little bit, a few steps slower. Maybe they are stupid, but there's a lot of stupid younger people, too. But it says there are people who have voted for Buchanan instead of their choice, Gore. Help get the word out. It is urgent. Fax that number and complain about the ballot in Palm Beach. 850-922-3969. But, you know, when all is said and done, and even a legal beagle like Norm there and all these other, if you could talk to 100 different lawyers now and different experts, they're all going to tell you 100 different things. Because nobody knows the trouble we've seen.
I don't know.
Exactly. You believe the election results in Florida are honest? 82 votes now since we changed this thing a minute ago. 62 say no, 13 yes, 7 say...
I don't know.
McConnell has said for years that nobody's ever lost their seat because of campaign finance reform. Well, I think it's very arguable that in Delaware...
Okay. Florida recount to end Thursday. So I'll say it again in case you missed the beginning, if you've been driving around. They automatically, by law, when it's this close, have to have a recount. And they must finish it by the end of the business day tomorrow, by 5 o'clock tomorrow.
That's what they find all those missing ballot boxes back in the tool sheds and where.
Oh, you mean the ones that they burn? Oh, you see, it's not fashionable to burn black folks anymore, so they will just burn their votes.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station, and WQAM.com for the world.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
How about having people sign an affidavit? How about they take all those ballots for Buchanan, and they contact each and every one of them, and find out whether they were trying to vote for Pat Buchanan or for whom they wanted to vote, and send them a form to, or go knocking on their door, however they do it, and have them sign an affidavit. Because people, of course, can say anything they want now that they know the result. Take a look at these numbers again. Somebody faxed me this. I've already got it. I've got 70,000. I mean, look at the percentages, though. Broward County, Pat Buchanan got 0.13% in the vote. Lee County, even those yahoos over there, he got 0.16%. In Palm Beach County, he got almost 0.8 points. If you take Dade, Broward, Martin, Orange, and Hillsborough counties all together, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the biggest counties in the state. Their combined total for Buchanan is 2,600, give or take. Palm Beach, we're supposed to believe that Pat Buchanan got 3,400 and some votes. Is there anybody who believes that?
No.
Are there any of the most partisan Bush people who believe it?
No.
The Buchanan people?
No.
No. I mean, I'm not trying to be a bad loser here because I went to bed at 2:20 saying, hey, it was exciting, and I was up there, I was nail-biting, and it was whatever, especially when you got two boring candidates, but nevertheless, it was exciting. I went to bed saying, okay, he won. So I was prepared to deal with that. But when you find out about all these shenanigans and about ballot boxes full of ballots missing and people being disenfranchised and told that they can't vote, and all of a sudden we go from 350,000 absentee ballots to over 500,000, and now it's almost 1 million. I'm surprised we don't have 10 million. Do you know how many we got? Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. That's how many absentee ballots we've got.
Well, how many do we need?
Oh, probably another 30,000. Okay. Those ones that are coming in from outer space. They're coming in from your
rectum.
Anus. Poor Joe Costello's around. He's taking it personal, like somebody just beat up his dog or something. Man, psychotic. I'm psychotic too, but I don't have the energy for that because I was up so. I mean, just clicking and back and forth and yeah, I'm in a coma. Here's Highland Beach. Hello.
Stop the crying, man. GW won.
No, he did not.
He did too.
No, he didn't.
Winning,
No, he didn't, asshole. He didn't win. He didn't win nothing. In fact, at the moment, he's 14 electoral votes behind, moron. Yeah, see, you're another one of those. GW won. Go get your Doberman, okay, and molest him or something. Get out of our face. At the moment, Gore's got 260 electoral votes, and Bush has got 246. The Bushmeister, GW. But you know what they say about birds of a feather gravitate together?
Uh-huh.
No, as long as your man won, let's not worry about how suspicious it is, or how bogus it is, or how many dead people voted, or how many boxes full of ballots are missing. No, it's just that we win. We win. See, it's like a football game to this punk. It's that we thing again. If you could find one. Here's Miramar. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing, buddy?
Okay.
Hey, listen, that Palm Beach thing, I tell you, the third whole input is never any good, But seriously, though, we need a national polling procedure standard, and we need a national ballot card standard, and we need to make a national holiday for voting day and get serious about all this stuff.
Right.
And I'm a Bush supporter, but I'm more for fair representation of people. And I'm also for the electoral college. I think it's important that each state independently makes its choice for the government.
Why?
Well, because
each state does make its own choice for their own state government and for their own representatives in Congress.
I mean, the national election is 51 independent elections, and that's important. That's the way it's always been. That's why
51 different elections.
Yeah.
What's the logic in that? What kind of a cliche is that?
Because you have 50 states and the District of Columbia.
Yeah.
They all hold individual elections to send their electoral colleges to their votes to electoral college.
Yeah. So in other words, if you live in Delaware, your vote counts like 1/18th as much as if you live in California.
What about Puerto Rico?
No, Neil. No.
Yes.
The thing is, the only reason...
Sir, let me say it again. If you live in Delaware, which has 3 electoral votes, California's got 54, that means your vote potentially counts 1/18th as much as somebody's vote in California.
Right, because you live in a much less populated state.
So that is logical to you that if you live in a sparsely, like in North Dakota somewhere, your vote only counts 1/18th as much as somebody lives in California?
Well, what do you suggest? We just do away with it and just count all the votes as one?
There you go. Popular vote. What a concept. Let me ask you this. When we have elections for governor, do we have electoral votes by county?
No, that's right. Well,
okay, that's right. Thank you. I think each county ought to have its own election.
No, each town.
I think each block, because he sounds like a chip, or something rhymes with chip off the old block. Each block ought to have its own. We can have block parties, 2 potluck suppers. Yeah.
I'll bring the pot.
Plan our strategy. Yeah, a few pot suppers, baby. How'd that thing come out in Nevada? Anybody knows? Oh, and they had some of the people that they had on. Oh, look at this. 72% of white people voted in Florida. 16% of African Americans who did a spectacular job. And why don't we see the Hispanics? Why don't we see the Hispanics? It was, I think, 11%. Oh, here you go. Hispanics, 50% for Bush, 48% for Gore, and 2% for others, which is just about even Steven, because Hispanics being not just the old toothless Cubans down there, but other Cubans and other Hispanics, non-Cuban Hispanics. Just about even Steven. See, if we could have just gotten a few more of those ballot boxes in the, you know what I'm talking about, those dark folks, if we could have just kept a few more of those, instead of throwing out like 80% of them. Something really stinks. And the best part of the whole deal is, here it is, it's past 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, back in 60, when they had the Kennedy-Nixon thing that was so close, 7 o'clock the next morning, they came on and told us that Kennedy had won. Even though they had their states all screwed up with their projections back then. Because back in those days, the only computers they had were those big UNIVAC computers that took up like a whole room. So they were like a little bit primitive. But nevertheless, they got it right, and Kennedy did win. Thanks to a few dead people in Illinois, maybe a few other places, and in West Virginia, a little hanky-panky in there. But you would think, because the kind of stuff that's going on now is the kind of stuff we read about from the 19th century in the history books. And we say, oh, well, you know, that was back in the days when everything was corrupt and they didn't have the media to watch over them and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, everything was corrupt back then. Thank God it's honest now. Our poll, 156 votes, 119 of them don't think it's too honest now, at least in Florida, as once again we pull it off. I told you yesterday, it's all about you guys, it's all about Florida. And you went out there in record numbers and tried to you did your duty to do your best or whatever it is, and they still wind up screwing you. If there's anybody who really believes with all of these massive irregularities and all the contradictions and the boxes full of ballots missing and driving around in the middle of the night, that this election in Florida was legitimate, that it was kosher, even Joe Lieberman wouldn't touch it with his tongue. And the election either.
Not all the vice president's senior advisors getting rest. A contingency of 70 from Nashville went down, led by former Chief of Staff Ron Klain, to oversee the recount down in Florida. They're en route to look at that.
Good. I hope they're looking over their shoulder and sticking their knee up there just to make sure. No more hanky-panky. You know who I think was in charge of the vote count here? Tommy James and the Shondells. 9 minutes after 11 at 560 WQM.
Only in the Banana Republic, baby. Only in Miami.
There's a report out tonight that 24 years ago, I was apprehended in Kennebunkport, Maine for DUI. That's an accurate story. I'm proud of that. I oftentimes said that I occasionally drank, and I did on that night. But I made the decision that drinking, I want my girls doing the kinds of things I did, and I told them to drink and drive. Decision I made. And I've been very upfront with the people saying that I drink now. Yes, I was. I'm going to drink beer, yeah. How many beers? Two of, I can't remember how many beers. It was 4 years ago. My father, very happy about it. But, that's the course of action I took. And I'm the first to say that people of America will understand that.
Amen. We understand. 11:14 at 560 QM. Don't forget Joe Costello on the QM van at the Citro gas station, 50 Southeast 8th Avenue in Hialeah, noon to 2 today. The best of meal CDs and stuff. Free passes to the Bobby Labonte luncheon at the Outback Steakhouse in Kendall tomorrow noon to 2, and also free tickets to the Lennox Pool Day at the Homestead Miami Speedway. I think we got pulled last 24 hours is what we did, most of us. Here's a very monumental fact. It says if there ever was an effing reason to make sure guns remain in the hands of the people, it is the possibility of the federal government overturning the vote of the people. This is a nonpartisan statement just having nothing to do with Bush or Gore or which side anyone is on in this historic moment. Just think about what is possible in a situation like an election where after the votes are cast and counted, government officials or judges, like the one in Missouri who decided to let the polls stay open an extra 3 hours only in certain neighborhoods, can decide to alter the results. The people should have the guns to make sure these government efforts are dealt with very quickly. I'm putting shells in the chamber right now as we speak and heading for the election office. Signed sincerely, one who cares. Oh, yeah. Oh. All right. He's getting pissed off and fired up. Oh, here's good news from the old coot in Miami Beach. He says, Jesse's coming. He announced a rally tonight at a Baptist church in North Miami for everybody who felt that their vote was mishandled or ass-handled. On CNN, 10:45 a.m. That was just a little while ago. I saw Jesse on here. He was going boo-boo like that. Let him have it, Jesse. He'll fix it all. Like I said, we like you once in a while. Not most of the time, but once in a while, let him have it. Teresa Lepore is the supervisor of elections, the supervisor in Palm Beach County. She's the lady, who was responsible, I guess, for laying out that ballot. Now, the state law allows each county to determine the layout for its own ballot, but evidently Palm Beach County was the only one that, in her brilliance and eminent wisdom, decided to put the presidential candidates on 2 different pages. Huh? Yeah, we can play that song by the Byrds, too, My Back Pages. Bring out all that great stuff to celebrate, because don't forget, all this hanky-panky, that only went on in the olden days, before they had all of this oversight and before everything was so hunky-dory. And I'm going to say it again. Somebody brought this up a few days ago. Excellent point. What about computerized instead of these paper ballots? Huh? How about computerized, all hooked into a central terminal? With all the technology we've got today, with the internet that I invented and all this other good stuff, why the hell not? Instead of this archaic crap. And you slip your little ballot on that thing, and you have to make sure it's on those 2 little prongs there, and you have to try to make sure it's all lined up just right, and if it's not, you're screwed, and your vote isn't worth a crap. What kind of garbage is that? It's almost, you get the feeling that the government is doing everything. First of all, they don't make it a national holiday on Election Day like they do most everywhere else. And number 2, it's like they're doing everything in their power to keep you away from voting, to discourage you. And then they chew us out by saying, oh, these people, they don't care. They're not involved in their system like in other countries. Well, why not make it a little bit harder? And speaking of making it a little bit harder, I think I just came up with a solution for the whole deal. I say, let Bubba stay in. Yeah. Until we can straighten all of this thing out, if it's another 2 months extra, if it's another 6 months, if it's another 6 years, let him stay in there. They don't like him personally, but he's still got almost a 65% job approval rating. He's got nothing else to do. Well, what are you talking about? He's got to be the first lady in New York now. You crazy? Here's Royal Palm Beach. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Listen, my aunt, after 18 years, has been with the precincts in Palm Beach County.
Yes, sir.
And she called us last night and very upset, actually crying on the phone to my wife and I, because of the ballot style 28 that was used in the precincts throughout Palm Beach County through Teresa Lepore. She said that many of the people, older Jewish people, especially out here in Royal Palm Beach, might have made a mistake of
punching
Buchanan or Foster, vice president, because the holes were so close to one another.
Right.
And some of them got very upset in the precinct there, where it was kind of hostile a few times during the day yesterday. And they told them not to speak to the media or anything about the situation that they were in there. But I felt it was that I wanted to call you because we listened to you for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very upset. And there's a number she said we can call. It's area code 561-355-2650. Or there's a website that she gave me that people want to call from Palm Beach. It's www.pbcelections.org. And it's very important that some of these people who may be listening to you that might have made that mistake and came forward and they said there's nothing they can do, but they did give out numbers there.
355-2650?
Yes, it's area code 561-355-2650.
Okay.
And it was just a mess. We did receive the ballot 28. There's 100 different ballot styles in Palm Beach County, and they happen to use this one. I don't know why.
I guess because they're bright. They're brilliant.
It's a shame.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, somebody faxed me just now a large copy, clear as a bell, of the Palm Beach County ballot. The only thing that's not clear is the little holes. I guess they can't depict the holes there on it. Maybe it doesn't pick up on the fax machine. And it really, it's not as impressive when you don't see where the holes are. But, you know, a lot of you guys, the two holes are real close together. That's always been a good excuse in the past. Didn't know which one I was punching. So what kind of a cockeyed thing is this? Why in the name of did it have to be laid out like this? Confusing is an understatement. And talk about psychosis. Can you imagine being an old Jewish retiree in Palm Beach County, getting all ready to line up there to vote for Gore and Jew Lieberman, and you wind up voting for Pat Buchanan? Oh my God! Talk about adding insult to injury. Talk about rubbing the salt in your wound. So let's give those numbers again. What was the number that Norm gave out? I got numbers all over the place. Not what? No, that's not right.
That's the one that Norm gave out?
954-491-2000.
Sorry.
491-2000. If you're one of those people in West Broward who wasn't allowed to vote because they made a song and a dance about...
reading sideways.
Huh? Yeah. And in Palm Beach County, if you're afraid you're one of those people, or you know somebody who's probably one of those people, and you want to complain bitterly and raise holy hell about the fact that you intended to vote for Al Gore and you wound up voting for Buchanan or somebody else, 561 area code 355-2650. 355-2650, or check out their website, www.pbcelections.org, O-R-G. pbcelections.org. Okay, and it's astonishing. Can we do anything right in this state?
No.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The laughing stock of America. And we all know it's just a coincidence that G.W.'s brother happens to be the governor. Isn't that just a coincidence? Of course. We all believe that. Just a coincidence. We certainly don't want to accuse our governor and his very highly esteemed family, the Bushmeisters. I mean, just the fact that Neil was involved in the SNL scandals and all the other things that have gone on in Iran-Contra and all the other lies and read my lips. But, I mean, this is a very honorable blue-nosed, blue-ass family, the Bushes.
What about a smuggling wife?
And now you're going to start talking about poor Esmeralda again. What the hell is her name?
Oh, Columba.
Columba, yeah. Poor Columba. Well, she just didn't want to get chewed out.
What about his crazy son?
Yeah, and he wants to get laid, okay? And if you look like him, how can he get laid?
Hello, suckers. My name is Columba. I got off the plane after shopping in France to piss your money away. I bought designer clothes, expensive baubles and jewels, and knew in advance the duty tax was due. I tried very hard to smuggle, and they wouldn't let me buy. But I did not get in trouble, 'cause I'm the governor's wife. Yes, I'm kept obedient wife who wants to live up my life with special favors. After all, my husband's brother will soon be your dictator. I'm like Flora the Vita. I buy anything I need and just one thing more. I'll be just risking family values when I get back from the store.
This is even worse, okay? Because now I've got the two pieces of evidence from Palm Beach County. First, here's the cover letter that Teresa Lepore, Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections, sent out. Dear voter, as Palm Beach County has 100 ballot styles or ballot variations, we are sending you the sample ballot, which contains only the candidates and issues for which you are allowed to vote. You're urged to become informed on all candidates and issues on the ballot, so you may make your selection before going to the polls. It is legal for you to mark your choices on the sample ballot and take it into the voting booth to aid you in voting. However, such a marked ballot is for your own use and must not be openly displayed at the yada yada yada. If you're unsure of the polling location of your precinct, call this number, etc. Now, we go back and look at this full page, very crystal clear. And what did I say before about what you don't see on there? You don't see the holes. Now, how can you stick it in the right place if you don't see the hole? It's like fumbling around in the dark. like Al Goldstein in the in the dark room over there at that Adonis joint. Seriously, that's what it's like. He's fumbling in the dark. And you know something? This would contribute to confidently punching in that second square area right under the Bush one. On top, it's got Republican George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and then the second one, Democratic Al Gore, Joe Lieberman, and it's got number 5 with an arrow to the right. What it doesn't show is that there are 2 little holes to the right of that. That if you weren't paying any attention to what's on the other page to the right of it, you'd assume that a punch in there is a vote for Gore. You don't have to be some old senile bastard to do that, although it helps. But I mean, unacceptable. You crazy, crazy piece of crap, Teresa LaPour, and you poor voters there in Palm Beach County. What a shame that you have to wind up being the chiggers in the woodpile and get only a part of it. I mean, at least we assume that most of their votes were counted. Are we going to assume anything really?
No.
No. In fact, I hope that Governor Jebster is listening, or one of his representatives, one of his cronies up there. And by the way, you're finished, Jeb. I mean, if it wasn't for affirmative action and the citrus canker program and all the other things you've done to piss off just about every group of people in this state, if it wasn't for those things, now your goose is cooked, baby. You are history, Jebster. You believe the election results in Florida are honest? No, 166. Yes, 33. And don't know, 18. How do you like that? 76.5%. Of the people out there in Radio Land don't believe in what we are being peddled here as election results in the state of Florida. And what I'm hearing now is that we had 72 million absentee ballots. And they all voted for Bush. So what are we complaining about? What was it, 80 million? 26 after 11 at 560 WQAM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Time is loud as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, congratulations. Get a life.
Tonight at 9 on the Food Network, it's Emerald Dice Clay.
Okay. So tonight we're going to kick it up a couple of f***ing notches. What the f*** you clapping for, honey? I ain't cooked yet.
Chef Emerald Dice Clay, leather-studded apron and all, shows you how to do things in the kitchen you never dreamed of.
Today, I'm going to show you how to smoke fish. Where's my f***ing zip?
And nobody reads a recipe like Emerald Dice Clay.
Jack and Jill went up the hill to make themselves some stew. And just like an oven, Jill needed some loving, so he put his meat in there, too. Is that genius?
It's the hottest cooking show on cable.
Hey, take a look at its foot long, would you? Come on, baby. You know you want to grab my wiener.
That's Emerald Dice Clay, right after Iron Chef.
Bunch of f***ing snap-aheads. You can blindfold these people with dental floss.
Only on the f***ing Food Network.
11:31 at 560 WQM. So Michael K., who's obviously pissed off, sends me a convoluted fax with many errors in it. He says the actual number for West Palm is 3,500 votes for Buchanan. 3,407. I mean, you're close, Mike, but, and then he says the next closest in the entire state, 1,000 votes in Pinellas. Even closer, 1,010. Then he goes on to say that asshole Nader cost Gore 3 other states besides Florida. Maine, with 4 electoral votes, Nader got 37. That would have put Gore in the win column. I hate to break the news to you, Michael, but Gore got all 4 votes, electoral votes, in the state of Maine. Then New Hampshire, Nader got 22,000. That would have put Gore in the win column, 4 electoral votes. That is correct. Oregon with 5. Nader got 54,000. Well, nobody has won that state so far. But what he's missing is he says these additional electoral votes will give Gore 273, but he already won Maine with those 4, so he's given him twice. So even with those states, he'd still only get 269. Yeah. He'd still be 1 short. Like that Madonna lookalike says at the checkout in the Bud Light commercial, still short. Yeah, still short. So nice try there, Michael, but close but not a match. See, it's still, no matter how you sliced it, as soon as Gore won one other state there, as it was getting into the wee hours of the morning, and they had, Wisconsin was hanging out, and Iowa, and Oregon, and what else? Arkansas and Washington. And then, Gore needed to win one of those, plus Florida. Now, Bush, if he would have won all the remaining 3 or 4, whatever it was, he could have won without Florida. Did he do it?
No.
No. As soon as he lost Iowa, as soon as Gore won Iowa, it put it all right on, the onus right on our anus. Right here in Florida. And I've told you for years, if you look at the shape of this state on the map, you look at this peninsula of ours, and that should tell you a lot. I think there's something really symbolic there. Here's a lady in Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was just wondering, is there a way to trace the ballots of those people that voted for Buchanan, identify them, and kind of find out from them if they indeed voted for him?
Well, that's what I was saying before. I would think that they could certainly isolate those that got all the ballots.
So there is a way, like for instance, in my vote, they can trace it and they can find out if I voted for such a person.
No.
No, they can't do that.
No, not. Well, what am I saying? How can I say that? Because they tear the thing off. They can't do that. It's just a paper ballot.
Yeah, so there's no way for them to identify those people that voted for Buchanan, those Buchanan votes.
No.
And identify.
No, the people all have to come forward. The ones who, and of course, the people. See, there's no way to prove it because now all kinds of people could come forward and say, "Oh, well, I messed up. I really wanted to vote." You know, like some of the Native people could come out now and say, "I really wanted to vote for Gore, and so let's invalidate my vote. Here's my name on the thing." You just can't do it.
Exactly. Yeah, we're stuck.
I think what they'd have to do is have the whole election over again.
I agree.
Well, why not? There's nothing else going on.
I mean, what does the rest of the country think? Or is it just us that feel this way?
They're saying, "Oh, there are those morons in Florida again." Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, what am I thinking about? They can't track those people down. It's not like you write your name on your ballot. Because then that guy with his gun, he really has a good case to be made, yeah. You hear a little knock on your door. "Oh, I have your ballot here. Looks like you voted for Moishi Pupik in the election. We want to take you on a little ride here. You want to ride around, see if maybe you can help us find those boxes full of those ballots that are missing now. You know, from those dark neighborhoods. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. I am incoherent. Deerfield Beach, hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Lest these NATO assholes had any doubt in their mind about what kind of a shrub that their votes are sending to Washington. Pat Buchanan was on a little while ago giving his rejection speech.
Yes.
And he said that George W. Bush's election represents the conviction of Bill Clinton and that he was happy to have played a part in it because it's going to be of great benefit to the American people when it comes time to select the Supreme Court.
Isn't that great?
That's what he had to say, Pat the Nazi. One other question I had about the Electoral College. Well, first a comment. They'll never get rid of that. It takes a constitutional amendment, and it has to be ratified by 2/3 of the states.
Well, I think you're wrong when you say they'll never get rid of it. I disagree.
Well, I heard somebody say...
Because when you say 2/3 of the states, let's face it, the overwhelming majority of the states, take a look at all the states that Bush won last night. Most of those states have got very few. They got 3, 5, 6 electoral votes. There are only a handful of states like Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Florida, and California that got enormous numbers of electoral votes.
Well, it still takes a constitutional amendment to do it.
Well, if there's enough furor about it, it'll happen.
That's true. Now, here's my question. There was going to come a time...
I mean, if they were screaming about having a constitutional amendment to prevent you from making it illegal to burn the American flag, I'm sure that this might be just a little bit more important than that.
Well, that's possible, but consider this. In the Electoral College in the state of Florida, there are 11 electors, 2 of which are the 2 state senators, which are both Democrats, and then there's a bunch of other electors. They still have to cast their ballot.
That's absolutely correct. That's
for
right.
George Bush.
Uh-huh.
Well, what if they decide they don't want to do that because of the situation in Palm Beach County?
Well, you know, they had one of the legal experts on. Of course, they're going to be seeing 60,000 legal experts the next 2 days. Earlier on CNN, and he was saying that, you know, they can technically go ahead, even though it might be in violation, it will be in violation of the law, and vote for anybody they want, and they could actually put them in jail, but nevertheless they can't change their vote. So they can still go and vote for anybody they want, and the vote would have to count, but then they might throw their ass in jail for doing it. But
they'd be in jail, but we'd have Al Gore as president.
There you go.
And then we could say to George W., bye-bye.
We can bring back Gerald Ford to give him a pardon.
There you go.
Okay. I think we just got it solved, baby. Leave it to this show, man. There's no problem that we can't solve. Nothing is too hard for us. Before the presidential race in Florida became too close to call, the Democrats called for a recount in Florida. Party officials said voters were complaining of misinformation, possible tampering, and other irregularities in the Sunshine State. And you know something? Nobody still knows what the right number is. That's Farsi that sent me the facts before. He'd be right. They still don't know. Is it 1,700? Is it 200? How did it go from 48,000 to 200? How did it go from 200 to 1,745? And here's somebody in Palm Beach lamenting the fact. He says, or she says, by Gore there were 2 holes. I had to figure out which one, said voter Lena Francis. That's what Bubba used to say, too, huh, about Monica. I asked one of the ladies to help, and she didn't know. When I left, I figured out that I voted wrong, said Lena Francetta. Another voter, May Cohen, said, I don't know if I voted wrong. Republicans had only one hole. How do you like that? And then, of course, those Bush people keep getting it screwed up for the obvious. Oh, I'm never going to find that, am I? Oh, yeah.
For Christ's sake, she's only got one hole.
Yeah. So the confusion runs rampant. 21 till noon at 560. WQAM.
Get the Hoover out the moon, man.
17 till noon at 560 WQAM. We got the Hank Goldberg Show at 2 with, what day is it today? Wednesday? We got, Geldy on game night from the Hard Rock Cafe at 6. Canadians at the Panthers at, 7 o'clock tonight. Did I mention about Gary Sarner, what an asshole he is? I don't think I mentioned that on the air. You know, I've been up all night, go to bed at 2:30. I wake up this morning, 7 o'clock, 7:15 I turn on TV, and, now it's all up in the air again. I've been just embroiled in this thing. I voted yesterday morning, bright and early. I was there 6:45. First time in years I voted. And I'm thinking to myself, this is what everybody has got to be talking about. Now, it's right here in our own state, right?
No.
Oh. I get out of my car in the parking lot down there, and here's a bald Mike, who's a really bizarre guy, and Gary Sarner, two of our sales holes here at QAM. And as I'm approaching them, I say, good morning. And the first thing out of Gary Sarner's mouth is, what do you think about that Erickson kid? Is he going to help us? He's doing hockey talk. And you know what? Not that I didn't already know, but I'm thinking to myself about Gary Sarner at that point.
He's an asshole.
Yeah. He's getting me into a discussion about the Panthers. And then I come in the building, and Joe Costello is one of the few of us who's like foaming at the mouth about this fixed election. And he says he was trying to show the sample ballot at the Palm Beach thing to some of the people out in the hallway, some of the other folks out here. They don't even know what he's talking about. Because it doesn't have to do. If it was a poll for the BSC poll, the college football poll, then they'd say, oh my God, let's see that. We have got to have the most lifeless bunch of goofballs in this building I have ever worked with in my life. The sports nerds. I mean, Defoe, he's into it. He's in the election. Hank, heavily into it. He voted 4 or 5 times. But generally speaking, these punks that we have in this building, all they care about is ball games and making illegal bets. That's basically on ball games. That's what it boils down to. Wait till you hear this. Tuesday morning, 4 Florida Highway Patrol troopers set up a safety checkpoint, stopping cars 1.4 miles from Woodville Baptist Church in Tallahassee, a polling precinct in an area where a third of the voters are African American. By Tuesday afternoon, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Florida Attorney General's Civil Rights Division, and the State Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles had launched investigations after someone complained that the checkpoint was intimidating black voters, who voted 93% for Al Gore, I should point out again. The complaint forwarded to us by the Department of Justice raised the issue of possible intimidation of black voters, said Paul Hancock, Deputy Attorney General for South Florida and Chief of the entire Civil Rights Division. We are taking this seriously. We jumped on it right away. They jumped on it. Major Ken Howell, spokesman for the FHP's Tallahassee headquarters, said it appeared the checkpoint was not conducted according to departmental guidelines. It didn't have the approval of the district commander, and the media was not notified in advance. How strange, huh? Details were still incomplete as of late Tuesday, but Howe said the 90-minute checkpoint yielded citations to 2 white women and 1 black woman. Of 13 faulty equipment notices, 3 went to black men and 2 went to black women. 3 written warnings were issued, 2 to white women and 1 to a white man. Troopers stopped every car, Howe said, but troopers are not required to record the race of every driver stopped, only those against whom enforcement action is taken. The checkpoint was motivated by the FHP's gasoline crunch, FHP officials said. Troopers are being asked to cut back sharply on gasoline consumption, said Major Kevin Guidry, FHP acting troop commander in charge of the Tallahassee office. We're trying to be visible yet save gas, Guidry said. It probably never occurred to them where they were. They want to be visible but save gas?
It's just a coincidence.
So in other words, instead of riding around following people and writing tickets to people who are speeding or driving erratically or drunk or many of the above, they just stop there and don't waste any more gas and just stop everybody. Only a coincidence that it was only a mile and a half, less than a mile and a half from this polling place where a third of the voters are African American, and where there evidently is a high concentration of dark folks. According to records in the Leon County Supervisor of Elections office, there are 2,229 registered white voters who voted at the church. There are 916 African Americans, 20 Hispanics, and 120 others, Martians. Here's another fax that says, the Gore headquarters is taking calls from people who want to report problems at elections yesterday. You can call 954-927-8331. Gore headquarters, 954-927-8331. If you had any election problems, irregularities, if they gave you a bunch of crap. Attorney General Bobby Butterworth's number in Broward, 954-712-4600. He's investigating complaints. 954-712-4600. This faxer says the precinct I worked in Hollywood yesterday set an all-time record. More than 1,300 people voted between 7 and 4. Many of them were rejected for one reason or another and sent back to the Office of Supervisor of Elections. You know, a few people would bother to find out where it is and where to go. I instructed them to go back and ask the poll employees to call the office and help them out. That's what they're there for. But they were slow and very unhelpful. I heard of this kind of problem everywhere in Broward. I can imagine what happened in other counties. It says we must be united and fight the Bushit conspiracy. It's now new to many of us who've read books about what they do, and we know that Jebby's been working very silently in Florida. Remember Clinton's impeachment. See, if they can't take over the country one way, if they can't drum Bubba out of there with their impeachment, they'll do it another way. They'll steal the goddamn election. That's what it boils down to. This mysterious turnaround. Back and forth. I mean, sure, we know that there are a lot of close elections. There were a lot of close states last night. Probably had a few dead people voting here and there. But I'm going to say it again. How is it possible that George W. is ahead by 48,000 plus votes at 2:20 in the morning when all the networks declared him the next president? I go to bed, and then all of a sudden I find out that an hour and 20 minutes later he's ahead by 200 and some votes instead of 48,000, and now it's 1,700, and nobody still knows what the hell it's all about. And we still don't know how many people are driving. Maybe they're still driving around with some boxes of ballots now. We don't know. Because all we have to go on is to take their word for it. Just like those 423 million ballots, those absentee ballots. And I hear it's really 62 million coming from overseas. We thought it was only 30,000. Whatever it takes. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello. Mobile in Miami.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am.
How you doing, Neil?
Okay.
You know, there is a way you can track the voters in West Palm Beach. Simply because when you sign in, you're signing in with a special lead pencil.
Yeah.
And the pencil is relative to the barcode, and the barcode has a number which they write on, which is from the ballot. They write on the part where you're signing.
Yeah, but
So
but wait a minute. They tear the part of the ballot off and they put
Right,
it in
which
an
has a
envelope.
number.
And yeah, right. But they have no idea what you punched on the rest of the ballot that you stick in that little gray envelope and put in the box.
Well, they don't know that the same number that's on the part that they tear off is on the part that you put in the box, and is also on the part where you sign and give to the lady.
Yeah.
So that barcode can actually coordinate with the other two numbers. So they actually really do know who's voting for who. It would be an invasion of privacy,
Right.
and not generally done.
And highly illegal, yeah.
But I would think it could be done probably in a circumstance where they think there's a wrongdoing, where they're trying to do a re-election or something like that.
I say let's
I
call.
would hope they can do something like that, considering all the electronics they're using to do the balloting in the first place.
I wonder how late Javier Suarez was up last night.
I don't know, but I'm sure a lot of people are biting a lot of knuckles, just waiting for an answer.
Well, you got to wait till tomorrow afternoon at the earliest.
That's probably true, and
Okay.
then that'll be a lie.
Hang on tight.
Take care.
Okay. Here's the fact that says, I'm a white 48-year-old Jewish voter living in Boca who was cheated by the political system. I thought I had voted for Al Gore, but instead woke up this morning, find out I voted for Buchanan. This is an outrage.
Boy!
I believe in America. I believe in the American system of democracy. I believe in America. How can Buchanan get 3,407 votes when the next highest total is, the next highest total was 1,010? The only fair way to decide is let the Palm Beach County voters do it again. I say that's a good idea. Let's vote in Palm Beach again. What do you say? Oh! Because then we can really focus in, we can zero in on old Palm Beach, underline the old part. Because I guarantee you we can dig up a lot of dead people, because two can play this game, Jed. We can dig up a lot of dead people, and some of them are still walking around, like the ones from Cemetery Village. Get a gigantic turnout. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Do you believe the election results in Florida are honest, was the question we asked in our poll on NeilRogers.com today. 234 people said
no.
That's 76%. Said no, they don't believe it. 55 said yes, a little under 18%, and don't know 20 or 6.5%. Zion America, baby. And of course the markets now, they know whether to scream or eat a banana because they don't know who won. Dow's up 42, NASDAQ is down 78. Yeah, because they haven't got any idea what to do. Here's a lady in Pittsburgh. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, or good afternoon. I've been up all night, so I'm
Me
not
too.
sure what it is.
Yeah.
I'm calling because in Pennsylvania, we stood up for our seniors and we made sure that we voted for Gore, who will take care of all of the senior citizens' concerns. I hope that the people in Florida will now contact their representative there, Mr. Wexler, who was on CNN this morning, talking about all of the complicated and ballots that were mysteriously made too difficult for people to understand. And I'm sure that was not done unintentionally. I think those ballots were confusing on purpose, and I think that's why Mr. Bush was so confident after being interviewed on TV when he was made aware that there was some problem. He said, oh, no problem, it's taken care of there, and I think that that's a clue. I think that they knew that these ballots were being made too complicated, so I hope that the people in Florida will become interested and outraged.
Oh, they're interested and they're outraged, except for our sports people, but everybody else here is interested and outraged.
Well, in Pittsburgh, we just didn't put up with it, and we all rallied together.
And you notice how the Bush people were trying to also say everything that didn't come out their way was bogus. Pennsylvania was bogus, New Mexico was bogus, and at the end of the night, when everything was counted, guess what? They lost both of them.
Well, I think they're going to see the vindictive, surly side of George W.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a nice disposition like his father, and I think they have been just so outraged.
Well, Gore called and conceded, called him up and conceded thing. And evidently when he called him back the second time and said that, well, he was going to wait because he was very surly to him is what we're hearing. Yeah.
Well, that's the personality. That's the person that's talking about what you see is what you get, and what a great guy is. And
a drunk and a real prick.
How he loves everybody and how he trusts everyone. Well, we don't trust him, and particularly in this vote in Florida. And people in Florida do not sit back and stand back. Get in touch with Mr. Wexler. Do something about those ballots.
Amen.
Thank you.
We're working on it, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Spread the word. Americans need to demand a runoff from Florida supervised by the federal government, says this fax. Maybe they should give Florida what it deserves throughout the Florida election and give the president, well, I can't do it because Gore's still got 260. Got to have 270. That's what it says in the Constitution. I think that if all else fails, we should say all Americans for Gore. Most of us go on a general strike, a la the Cubans in Miami, as a last resort. That's a good idea. I'm leaving right now. See ya. What do you think of that? Yeah, let's go on a protest, you know. Yeah.
There you go. If I had the ability to, I'd take you out here right now and kick your goddamn teeth in.
All right. Nice going, Alice.
Play music.
CNN reports that a ballot box with filled ballots in it was found in a precinct polling place in Miami, unopened, in Miami. I wonder what precinct that was in. Huh? And it just keeps getting worse and worse. You see, we've now reached the point. What am I doing? I'm way past the break. But we've reached the point here where no matter what they do now, I'm not going to believe it. They have no credibility. I think we ought to have a recall campaign. You know the guy with the citrus that Dr. Melvin wanted to recall Jeb Bush? I say now we got him by the balls. Let's say goodbye to Jeb Bush. Who can play this game? The Bush family, with all their power and all their money and all their dishonesty, read my lips, you are trying to steal this election and the presidency from the American people. They want it back. He had it. He lost it. Now they want it back. By hook or by crook. Oh! Son of a bitch. 2 minutes before noon at 560 QM.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale. A Beasley Broadcast Group station. WQAM.com for the world.
Okay, we just continue. See, we don't even need goddamn Columbo on here. Forget about Columbo or Sherlock Holmes. Because even a moron, even the most partisan, this hasn't got anything to do with partisan. It has to do with what kind of a country you want to live in. And what were we hearing about, the revelation about the DWI and all this? Oh, it's those Democrats with their dirty tricks again, dirty tricks. They're all full of dirty tricks. It's all a pile of crap. They just showed on CN here, and the blood is just flowing to my rectum at this point. I'm so pissed off. They just showed a ballot box full. 76A was the number on the ballot box in Dade County. And guess where it came from? From an all-black church. That's right. That's where they were voting, in an all-black church. Who knows how many hundreds or thousands of ballots there are in that box? Maybe like 1,700, something like that. Sitting there, it's unopened. It's still locked. Maybe that's the lockbox they were talking about. Uh-huh. Yeah, take all the votes that don't go for us and we'll put them in the lockbox. I'm going to tell you right now, if there's any, I don't care who you're for. Like I said, I was more than willing when I went to bed. I figured Bush had won. Okay, life will go on. But no matter who you're for, if this is anybody's idea of how you run an election, and if this is this kind of governor and this kind of corruption that we have in this state, in Dade County, from coast to coast in this state, if this is what you're willing to accept, then heaven help the rest of us who are just fed up and tired of it and pissed off. You got a lot of answering to do there, Jebster, you phony, baloney, hate-mongering, right-wing piece of crap, you. Because that's exactly what you are and your whole goddamn blue-nosed family. I'm starting to think about that Trilateral Commission and the Bilderbergers and the CIA and that good old boy network in Texas, that conspiracy book I once read about the assassination of President Kennedy. It's easy to say, well, the Mafia did it and the Castro people did it and the anti-Castro people did it. It's easy to make up there's 8 million different theories on that. But the thing about the Texas oil men, the big business guys in Texas, it's very interesting to see how everything seems to come right back there, doesn't it? Just like the assassination itself, yeah. LBJ, who was the vice president, just happened to be from Texas. George W., he's from Connecticut some days, other days he's from Texas. The ganze Mishpacha, the whole bunch of corrupt bastards. I mean, at least with the Kennedys, they had dead people voting. We're used to that. Speaking of corrupt. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's a fax that says, I'm a 28-year-old American-born Julio, Republican, of course, but the news regarding this election is a horrific black eye to the American process. We should fire up old Sparky one more time and have that election official in charge of the ballots in Palm Beach be the final user of the chair. Yeah! He says, does this mean that Jim Lehrer is now the president of the United States? I think you can give him a lot of credit, Ricardo. Give him a lot of credit for tossing those softballs in those debates. My dog could have asked better questions. Here's a fax that says, I'm a Palm Beach County resident and wanted to report the following information I've uncovered about this extremely suspect situation. I made several calls yesterday to residents in Boca West to get out to vote and spoke to a number of seniors, at least 36, who complained that they were confused about the ballot, and some were irate because they felt they had incorrectly selected Buchanan instead of Gore. With almost 3,500 votes in Palm Beach alone for Buchanan, this could easily turn the election in Gore's favor. I've called Tallahassee, as you said, the local supervisor of elections of Palm Beach County, determined the layout of the ballot in the order that the presidential nominees were placed, Bush, Buchanan, Gore. I have voted this county for 12 years and never seen a ballot that didn't list the top two party candidates first for putting any third candidate on. I think with a population basically elderly and pro-Gore, the change in nominee order could cause significant confusion, and obviously it did. Says, I don't know if you recall the scandal from a few weeks ago about the 10,000 or so voters in Broward County who thought they had registered successfully on the Internet through a radio promotion, only to find out they were not eligible to vote. At the time, it wasn't considered to be that significant at the national level, but with Florida now being the only factor between victory and defeat, and since most voters from Broward who would choose to register this way would be much more likely to support Gore than Bush, this seems very significant now. And if you're angry out there, we'll give you all kinds of numbers today you can call. We've got numbers up the ass. Complaint line. This is in Palm Beach. Complaint line, 561-805-5829. 805-5829. The Florida Attorney General's Office, 850-487-1963. 850-487-1963. And the Florida Division of Elections, 850-488-7690. 850-488-7690. Here's Cape Coral. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
I'm pissed off about this thing, too, because really all the people out there in Texas, the Bushes, are really just a bunch of starched shirt rednecks. I mean, Bush...
Stuffed shirts and stuffed pockets, too. Don't forget about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he made some ultimatums here in Florida. I'm a fireman, and of all the labor organizations, AFL-CIO in the United States, Florida firefighters were the only ones that endorsed Bush for president. And it was because it was a little dirty tricks, I think, with the pension vote they had that Bush signed as soon as he got elected. And so it's just dirty tricks, back and forth stuff. You know, it's intimidation. It's exactly what you said before. And in my area here, I must have put out 50 Gore Lieberman signs, you know, or just roadside signs. And I would bet more than two-thirds of them looked like they were hacked up by a lawnmower.
Yeah.
I mean, all the Bush-Cheney signs are in perfect condition. And all the Gore Lieberman signs look like they've been through a shredder.
Yeah.
So it just makes me sick. They're mean-spirited. I kind of feel mean-spirited back at them.
And you know something? Over the weekend, they were knocking Gore for that speech when the prayer breakfast. He was talking about good and evil, and they were saying, "Oh, is he calling us evil?" Yes. I think you just answered your own question, boys. Yes. 9 minutes after noon at 560 WQM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit.
Yes.
George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit.
Oh.
George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Georgie Jr. is a piece of shit. The rich spoiled brat and the cocaine junkie. What's he gonna do with all that campaign money? He don't give a crap about people going hungry, but don't confuse them with the facts. We can't find your rap sheet, it just disappeared. We're looking all over and it still ain't here. Hey, Georgie Jr., where's your rap sheet go? Are you afraid that we'll find out that you did blow? You were a rich college kid, a drunken party punk, and you got pinched for possession of drugs. A rich bitch like you can hire a judge who gets an Ajax blender and a big fat sponge. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Georgie Jr. is a piece of shit. One more time. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Come on. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Oh. George Bush Jr. is a piece of shit. Georgie Jr. is a piece of shit.
12:15 at 560 WQM. Citizens of Florida, it says on this fax, call Bob Graham. That's a good idea. Howdy doody. Got so many politicians in the state look a little like howdy. Bob Graham's number in Washington is 202-224-3041, and demand that he gets excited, demand hearings, etc. about this election crap as he did all that alien junk. Thank you, a Palm Beach County resident. Right on, baby. Well said. Let's see if he's indignant and outraged and running around the middle of the street and carrying on like a petulant child about this as he was about poor little alien and the fact that Bubba allegedly broke his promise to him. Bobby Graham, Washington office. That's your senator, 202-224-3041. You know, it's interesting. I'm looking, somebody faxed me the law of the way the ballots have to be in the state. Minor political party candidates and candidates with no party affiliation shall have their names appear on the general election ballot following the names of recognized political parties in the same order as they were certified. Now, you see, their response to that it will be, well, wait a minute, let me go back and take a look. Yeah, see, their response will be that it is following because it's on the next page. Instead of all in like one line. There shouldn't have been any next page. It should have been on a separate page. It should have been a thing, please turn, whatever. Not next to it. Also, you know what number we need? We need the Jebster's number in Tallahassee. That's what we need. We need the phone number for Jeb Bush's office all over the state. Here in South Florida, his office up there in Tallahassee, his goddamn email, his fax machine. We want all those numbers before 2 o'clock today. Because I got news for you. He's going bye-bye. And you know something? Payback is always a bitch. Anybody out there remember Penisgate? And the $70 million that a bunch of lunatics like Bill McCollum, the voters sent a very good message last night. Bill McCollum, they said bye-bye. And that Jim Rogaine out there in California, bye-bye. The worst of the henchmen who were up for re-election last night, who were the spearheaders and the spear chuckers of all that Penisgate crap, that witch hunt, they all got kicked out. All got their asses tossed. But like I said, people have good, long memories. And payback's going to be a bitch, Jeb. It's going to be a real bitch. For you and your whole goddamn corrupt family, who think that they've got some kind of God-given right, just like the Kennedys, to run the country for as long as they want. Here's Boynton Beach. Hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Okay.
Okay. A couple of things here. Okay. Number one, the head of the Palm Beach County. I live in Palm Beach County. The head of the Palm Beach County, that lady, Miss Lepore, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
She's a Democrat.
Yeah.
She's the one who designed that. Okay. So it's not a Republican conspiracy. She's a Democrat. That's factual. Look it up. There's no.
Okay. Well, still, there's stupid Democrats.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that's what. And technically, legally speaking, the people who did push Buchanan, instead of pushing that, legally they still made the mistake because it was there in black and white where the arrow was.
Well, I mean, the fact that
no, it was confusing. I'm not saying it wasn't.
Can I say something?
Go right ahead.
The fact that you're saying it doesn't make it so. Are you a constitutional lawyer?
No, but if you look at
then what are you basing it on?
I'm basing it on the fact that if you think they would overturn the Palm Beach County voters' election, what took place in Palm Beach County because of that, I don't think that would happen because technically they still made the mistake. As confusing as it was.
I don't know what they're going to do about it.
No, I'm just saying.
But they're admitting that it was misleading. They're admitting that.
But they don't change a vote because of something misleading.
Yeah.
There's misleading votes in every district all over the country with different votes about this or that. They don't change things for that.
Well, we're talking about the president. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about bonds for a ballpark down the street or we want to build a ballpark in Hialeah. We're talking about the election for president, which is what brought most of those people out yesterday.
And Neil, do you know what I think too? If what you're saying is correct, you're saying, what, 30,000 absentees?
The overseas, yeah.
Yeah. If that's the case, okay, this is all academic.
You know what you cracked me up? Because the minute that you've called me 80 million times with the same crap, okay, every day, and I'm not going to talk to you again because you make me sick.
Okay.
This is the guy that gave us the song and the dance about the 100,000. You know, you're entitled to be as Republican as you want and as much for Bush as you want. That's fine. But don't call the show every day with the same speech. Do we have any idea how many votes were in that, and how many other boxes are missing with ballots in them?
Got to call it. There's another one in Prime.
Oh, there you go, sir. Maybe you have an answer for that, my friend, who can rationalize anything away. So let's say that Bush gets 23 out of those 30,000 absentee ballots, because I hate to break the news to you, there are a lot of wealthy Jews who go overseas, too. Liberal Democrats who travel all over the world that use absentee ballots, who aren't going to be voting for W. So let's say he gets 23 out of the 30,000. That gives him 16,000. How do we know how many thousands and thousands of other votes? Not just here, but all around the state. We're only talking about Dade County and then Perrine and Miami-Dade County. It was in Broward County last night that they were peeing in their pants and waiting forever and a day. While somebody from the BSO allegedly was driving around trying to find the place where they count the votes. Right. Like they don't know. So there is nothing that any human being on the face of the earth that could say to you that would convince you that there's a problem here. The people were stupid. The absentee ballots will come in. We'll get our way. That's the way it is. That's the way we want it. That's my comment to you, sir. A big, fat, blow it out your ass. You make me sick. The second I hear his voice, I know exactly where we're going. Every goddamn day during this election thing. I hope that you and the whole Bush family rot in hell, sir. How do you like that? Don't take it personal unless you want to. Yeah, here's another great fact. I already got it before, Chucky, but I'm glad you faxed it again. How the hell did that bullet train thing pass? I voted no, and anybody with a brain who read about anything would have voted no on that. I mean, it sounds wonderful, but there's no funding for it. It's pie in the sky. And then, of course, the baseball stadium in Hialeah. Before somebody called in yesterday, and I thought that he was joking, but he was not, before that call, nobody ever heard that there was something on a ballot in Hialeah to approve of building a baseball stadium. And again, where's the money coming from? Nobody knows. And it passed, supposedly. Although the good news is they don't want to play there. Yeah, beggars can be choosy. He's only lost $1.5 billion in the commodities market. Beggars can be choosy. This whole thing smells so bad, it's like a goddamn... This state today is an outdoor septic tank. That's what it is. I used to call it an outdoor funeral parlor. It's still that, but it's an outdoor toilet is what it is right now. You can smell the big oozing pile of steamy excrement from coast to coast, from the Panhandle to the Keys, and every place in between. As the stench of the bushes, just like Jesse says, that great line is, stay out of the bushes, stay out of the bushes. That's right, stay away from the bushes. If you know what's good for you. Now, and speaking of baseball and the Marlins, that I've told this before, but it's worth telling again. That first year that we had Marlin baseball and we were at IOD and I had those wonderful, Bob Green gave me those founder seats right there behind first base. Well, who do you think, in fact, he was actually there one night I was there. And one of his buddies, who was sitting next to him, one of his asshole buddies, whispered in his ear, "Oh, there's that fag back there." And he turned around and gave me a look like, "Oh, yeah, there he is." And not friendly. This, of course, is before he was the governor. And the group, that section, that's my luck. That section was filled with all of his comrades, his partners in crime. All of his cronies from Tallahassee and wherever else. All the Bush people. Rednecks. Julios, all had one thing in common. Hateful, right-wing, obnoxious pricks. Thanks, Sal. There's Sal Falcone with Soleil Water, the official water of the Neil Rogers Show. What? What are you laughing about? And Mountain Valley when they bring us free water? Well, no, you're number one, Mountain Valley's number two, and our buddy with the purple parrot out there is for the rest of the guys, for the Graham out there. Thanks, Sally, thanks. Go vote again, by the way, might help. Now, what the hell was I just talking about? What was I just saying? I've just lost I'm so beat anyway.
Florida's an outdoor toilet.
No, just before that. What the hell was I just rambling about? About the goddamn bushes. Oh, about those people at the ballpark.
Oh.
Bigoted, redneck, including your paisans, the old Julios, yes. And some of them weren't all that old. Homophobic, to an extreme. I remember going to one game, and a bunch of them, one guy's got a T-shirt, something about gerbils, save the gerbils or something like that.
Kill the fag.
And that's what it meant. And I'm sitting down in my seat before the game, minding my own business. Hey, Neil, interested? I get up and look back. He's like, holding his T-shirt out like, sir, you can take your T-shirt and your gerbil and your governor and the whole Bush family and stick them all up your ass, okay?
Stick it up your ass.
Right. Bunch of blue-nosed, bigoted, never mind this crap about compassionate conservatism. Who the hell are you kidding, baby? Your whole family are a bunch of crooks. Make the Kennedys look like a bunch of goddamn Sunday school kids. And by the way, for the guy that called me yesterday about Ted Kennedy, remember that guy, that punk? Won last night with about 75% of the vote in Massachusetts again. Oh! See, they don't mind the drunk up there. And so he, killed that bitch. They don't care about that. That's small potatoes. Like Frankie Pentangeli. 26 past noon at 560 WQAM.
Jeb Bush, back to move!
This is a story about a girl named Whiny. Every morning, she wakes up with all the cash that she needs. She's rich and famous, she's a star, and she's still just a teen. They go, why is she complaining? This Britney Spears girl. And they say she's so whiny. She's a bitch, yeah, she's just 18. And she's really rich, they say. In her young life, nothing has gone wrong. So why does she whine in this song? She had a date with Prince William, and she kissed half the guys commenting. But she's real unhappy, and her mood is crappy. Hey, come on, she can't even lip sing. They go, she is making millions. This kid in her teens. And they say she's so whiny. What a pain when she starts to whine. I need Novocaine. They say that she knows her career won't last long. That's why she is whining in this song.
1232 at 560 WQM. Just shut up, honey. So here's Governor Bush, Jebster, local office 305-348-6870. For those who would like to express their dismay over the way that this election was handled in the state of Florida, and over the obvious. And before I read any more numbers, we're getting calls from all over the place with specifics. And isn't it interesting how they're finding these boxes full of ballots, unopened but still padlocked, Perrine, all black neighborhood, church, all black. See, the fact that Gore was getting 93% of the black vote in this state made it very convenient to just not count a whole bunch of dark folks' votes. So like I said before, they're not going to be burning any dark people this week in Florida, but at least maybe they can burn their votes or hide them or just conveniently leave them around somewhere unopened. This is somebody's idea of how you run an election. Is that the way it works in Florida? Uh-huh. Governor Bush's local office in Dade, 305-348-6870. Jeb Bush's personal email, jeb@myflorida.com. jeb@myflorida.com. And here's another number for the Jebster. 850-488-2272. 850-488-2272. Even Scott Perlman is pissed off about this. What is that on top of it? That's not donuts, is it? That better not be any donuts. I'm going to be really psychotic if that's donuts. What is that? Is it donuts? That's my chicken. Oh, it looks like he had a box. Well, why did you just say it's not donuts, for Christ's sake? We don't need no donuts in here, although it sounds good. 850-488-2272. I guess we're going to have to get Eric busy putting some of these numbers on that thing a little later on. He'll do it on our website, neilrogers.com. How's that poll coming? Do you believe the election results in Florida are honest? 336 say...
No.
Thanks, Scott. Get out of here. 336, 77%. 72 say yes, 16.5%, and I'm sure one of those probably voted 14 times is that guy that called before that gives us a song and a dance every single day with his 25 million absentee ballots that are coming in any second. And don't know 28, 6.4%. To make a lot... Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Donna.
Hi.
This is Donna from Democratic Party headquarters.
Yes.
We understand that you've been giving out numbers for the Democratic Party, but they're not the correct numbers.
Okay, well, straighten me out. I'll give them out.
All right. Well, there are too many of them. I will be faxing to your office, but I'll give you like 2 or 3 of them right now.
Okay.
We are in area code 561, and you can call 265-1748 or 265-3226 and 265-2846.
Okay.
And I will be faxing the list to you if you want to give the others out.
Now, are you aware of these boxes of ballots that they're finding in the churches and various other places now that weren't even open, much less counted last night?
Yes, we've been getting those calls.
How many?
I don't know, but we have received a few calls, and there are people in the office who are working on it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Anything we can do, Donna?
Thank you for just taking care of these numbers.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Okay, bye. Democratic Party, if you want to call and you were excluded, you weren't allowed to vote, or whatever your beef is, 561-265-1748, 265-3226, or 265-2846. Thanks, Donna.
Oh, walked out. Well, it bothered me all day long. I didn't know what to do about it. So anyway, I wasn't going to do anything.
The voice of Sue Blum, a South Palm Beach voter, an elderly lady, an elderly lady.
And I knew immediately.
And this is on at, what's the name of this horrible show?
What can I do? So I called around some friends, see what they thought.
Frida von Nordroff and Roger Kosek.
Who did you
That's my story.
Who do you intend to vote for? Who's your candidate?
You mean want me to name him?
Yeah.
You don't mind?
Yeah, Gore.
And Sue, what was the problem? You felt that you were unable to be able to cast your ballot or cast your vote. It was confusing to do it.
I could cast my vote, but it was not in line with my candidate.
Right, exactly. There you go. See, she knows what it's all about. He's acting, playing dumb. Typical CNN approach. He's playing dumb. I forgot he's a lawyer. So the word is that, what's his name? Not Casper Weinberger, he's still dead. Warren Christopher. Janet Reno has sent a Warren Christopher down here from the Justice Department to investigate. And then here's a fax about Gore was outmarketed, it should have been this. And, well, that's all hindsight, and I agree. He ran a pretty marginal campaign. But the fact is the people voted, they came out in big numbers. And the votes, if nothing else, all the votes should be counted. I mean, I don't think we have to argue about that, do we?
No.
Everybody who was registered to vote, who was legally registered to vote, should have been able to vote. That's number one. And number two, had their vote counted. Is that very complicated?
No.
No. Even that asshole that called before for the 85th time this week, even he would have to agree with that. Well, maybe not. I've got numbers here that haven't been invented yet. Numbers of political assholes who haven't been born yet. I've got them all here. Okay, 22 before 1 at 560 WQAM. I'm in a fog. I'm in the twilight zone. Maybe a little bit of that lunch from Atlantic City Subs. And by the way, Scott, thank you very much, but we're not giving you a half hour of the show like Depot does every Saturday. We got other important stuff. Just a joke. He's a good guy, Scott. Tell me those rooms. What did I lose? About 50, 80 grand? Something like that. 200 grand?
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Liberty, Paracuba. Liberty, Paracuba.
Shut up, Jesse. 18 before 1 at 560 QM. So you're telling me that Connie Mack, that asshole, that outgoing Connie Mack, who's being replaced by Bill Nelson, by the way, was on one of the talking head news shows, and he's got the audacity to be blaming the people in Palm Beach for being irresponsible? I got news for you. That facts I got before from that Palm Beach, that Boca guy, he wasn't irresponsible, and he wasn't old, and he wasn't a doddering old fart. Just turn it around and try to blame it on the public, Connie. Thank God we said goodbye to Connie Mack. And if he didn't have that name, and everybody else in his family didn't have the same name, he couldn't get elected dog catcher. Don't forget Joe Costello in the QM van as we speak. They're at the Citro gas station at 50 Southeast 8th Avenue in Hialeah from now till 2. They got your best in the LCDs. They got those nifty keychains. They got T-shirts. Free passes to the Bobby Lamont luncheon at the Outback Steakhouse in Kendall tomorrow noon to 2. Also free tickets to the Lennox Pole Day at the Homestead Miami Speedway for all you pole jockeys out there. Here's Kendall. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
God spoke. Bush wins.
Okay. Where was that sound coming from? Not his mouth.
Rectum.
Oh, sounded like it. God spoke. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hey, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Neil, I just want to tell you, I've never seen the most grotesque, the most disgusting coverage from CNN, NBC, all the media coverage. At first, they said when Gore had Florida, I was jumping for joy, and then after that, they said Bush took it, and I was I puked after that, you know.
Right.
And I just want to know, what was your take on that?
What was my take
on it? The media? Or who?
Well, I mean, they jumped the gun on that, and of course, look at this. There were still a lot of people in line to vote because they had lines blocks long in a lot of places, including down here, who hadn't voted at that point. And of course, people probably were spreading the word, oh, it's all over, and people didn't bother voting one way or the other. Plus, as you know, there's part of the panhandle up there that is not heavily populated, but they're in a central time zone.
Yeah.
They're an hour behind.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of nerve going on the air. There was no urgency for them to project anything, but they're in this big pissing contest now where they're all, in a big hurry to see who can beat the other one.
But what I was really angry at when Fox News was the first people who said that George Bush was elected, and I felt so disgusted, and I said, that can't be.
Yeah.
That can't be possible. And another thing.
Yeah, but at least it got me 4.5 hours sleep, though, anyway.
Yeah, and who's responsible for counting the votes? Who picked these people to count the votes?
Well, there are a lot of members in that Bush family. I think they had the family out.
You think so?
All the ones that weren't in that hotel room, they had Martha Washington and Daddy, Papa Bush in there. But all the young ones, they were out there counting votes.
But never, I see it's grotesque right now.
Well, don't worry. Janet Reno and that bunch, they're all coming down here, baby, so look out. All right, let them have it. Good luck to us, pal. Hang in there. And get a passport, please. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. The natives are pissed off, baby. I'm telling you right now, Jeffster, they're pissed. They're foaming at the mouth. 478 votes. Do you believe the election results in Florida are honest? No, 366, 76.5%. Yes, 80, 16.7%. Don't know, 32, 6.6%. A lot of sixes in there. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
I don't know whether to be embarrassed as hell or mad as hell or what. But this is
all of the above.
How could people vote in that bullet train? What are they thinking? They don't even have a plan for it. They don't know how much they're going to spend on it. This is, these people down here, all they bitch about, we ain't got money to do this, we ain't got money to do that, and then they vote this thing in. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who's broadcasting live from Palm Beach County? Fat-ass Rush.
Oh, isn't that great?
Isn't that super?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he's counting the votes.
In fact, he was probably that. Isn't that interesting that he happens to be here? Just a coincidence, huh?
Yeah, just a coincidence.
He's probably got 7 or 8 big ballot boxes that he's got hidden under his ass somewhere.
Oh, and he's spouting his crap. He's saying, oh, there's no conspiracy here. And you know what? He's already still complaining about Clinton. I just turned him on during the break here, and he's still complaining about Clinton in '92.
Yeah.
That he only had 40% of the vote, and that the country wasn't split then. So why is it now? And oh God, it goes on and on and on. All right, Neil. Well,
don't do it again. It's bad for your digestion.
All right, we'll pray for us.
Okay. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Yeah, Rush. Never met a fascist he didn't like. Nazi son of a bitch. Hate-mongering asshole. But other than that, he's not a bad guy. Hate name callers. Can't stand it. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, here's a possible birthday present for you. Possible election fraud in Miami. My wife is an inspector, which is the person who takes the names.
Yeah.
In precinct 752. And the clerk there is responsible for determining whether a voter is eligible to vote. Well, people were coming in and showing their driver's licenses, but they weren't in the books. The clerk told all the inspectors just to write their name in the back of the book and give them a ballot, instead of calling downtown and verifying whether they were registered. Can you believe that?
Now, what precinct was this one?
Republican area.
Uh-huh. How do you like that?
Yeah, see, just the opposite of what they were doing in Broward, where they were turning people away because they couldn't find them or couldn't call.
So the Democrats were getting turned away, and the Republicans were coming in just with a driver's license.
Right, and you figure with the network they had, when they got this precinct, they probably called all around to their buddies and said, hey, here's a precinct, come on in, vote.
Uh-huh. Excellent. Thanks for the good news.
And I did call BNC. They're aware of it, so hopefully it'll get investigated. I called Big County Elections. They were supposed to call me back, but they haven't called me back.
Well, don't forget, Connie Mack says it's, all you people were irresponsible.
Yeah, well, the irresponsible people are speaking up.
Good. Cross your fingers, pal. Good luck.
Yeah, and happy birthday, like I said.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line.
Come back, we expect to have and will have a statement from the Bush-Cheney campaign that will be right with us when we return. So be sure and stay with us.
Okay, we'll get that on, I'll tell you that. We're going to have a statement from the Bush-Cheney campaign. You know what they're going to say? Yeah. What's he going to say? Thanks, little brother? Something like that? Here's Orlando. Hello.
Yeah, hey, listen, Neil, Palm Beach County is just the tip of the iceberg. Up here in Orlando on the TV channels, the noon news, the Volusia Supervisor of Elections office has been shut down. Everyone's been kicked out. It's been taped off by the Sheriff's Department. Apparently the computers up there, they malfunctioned allegedly, and the votes for Gore, thousands of votes for Gore, were not counted.
Oh, my God. What a coincidence, huh?
South Florida's got nothing on us. And, this happened about the time when Jeb made the call. And then,
yeah. And W was sitting there looking so calm, cool, and confident, huh?
Right. And Jeb said, hey, just give us till midnight, 1 o'clock. We'll get it straightened out. So really what we need to do now is not send down a fossil named Christopher Warren. We need the U.S. Justice Department to come into this state. We need to have this election over again in Florida.
Or even Warren Christopher. You know something? I think when they do the recount, I think that might do it.
Well, we'll see.
Once they start counting these thousands and thousands and thousands of votes that, like you said, disappeared.
Yeah, well, thousands for Gore. Central Florida, Gore did so well that's why they called the state for Florida before Southeast Florida had even come in.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we lost.
And don't forget these ballot boxes full we got down here, baby. They're all coming from strictly black areas.
And then all of a sudden we lost thousands of votes in Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just a coincidence,
The call was made.
Thanks for the good news.
It's in the mail.
Okay. Woo!
They're 160 over at the van, by the way.
160 over the van, that's pretty weak, but then again, they decided to go over there in Hialeah.
You're not saying Southeast 8th Avenue or anything?
Yes, I am, because that's what it's bogus. Well, that's what it says here.
I understand that. Nevertheless, it's just 8th Avenue in Hialeah.
58th Avenue in Hialeah. I mean, he handed this to me. He stuck it right in my hand. Somebody did. Who gave me this? Joe? Joe Mama?
Might have been.
Okay, bada bing. Here's Joe Costello is at the Citgo gas station with a QM van, 58th Avenue in Hialeah, from now till 2 with the best of Neil's stuff, and free passes to the other stuff I told you about, which I'm not going to do again, because they decided to go to Hialeah. Now you know exactly what they're going to say when they come on here, Bush and Cheney. You know what they're going to say.
And then we'll do with that.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. But we'll carry it. We'll carry it here from CNN. It's coming on right after their commercial break in like 30 seconds. So let me just vamp here. Here's a fax that says CNN is reporting everything and calls are pouring in. The race is going to Gore. That's what that's just somebody wishful thinking. And from his mouth to
oh God,
ears. Hank Goldberg coming up at 2 this afternoon. He might actually have something to say about this, because he's somebody that can actually discuss something besides a stupid ball game, unlike some of our salespeople downstairs and some of the little chillins running around in this building. Then we got Geldy on game night. Oh, here we go.
Alan, next in the news, election 2000, it all comes down to the wire in Florida where officials are recounting ballots. We're awaiting a live news conference from the state's governor, Jeb Bush. We'll bring that to you live when it happens. Also, we expect to hear from the candidate, George W. Bush, about where things stand. We'll bring that to you as well.
What's Jeb going to say?
For the story and our extensive election coverage right after Burden of Proof.
Okay, let's get back to Roger. Come on, let's get them back on there with that statement for the Bush-Cheney people. Yeah, the dead guy won, Mel Carnahan won in Missouri. And the Republicans want to challenge that because the law says that the candidate has to live in the state. He's still living in the state. He's in the state of death, but he's still there. Come on, let's go with his stupid music.
The day after the election, Americans still wonder who will be their 43rd president. Our scrutiny is centered on 2 states, Florida and Missouri. Eddie, we wanted to give you a chance to comment before we, on our last subject that we were talking about, the issue of getting in to be able to vote and keeping polls open later.
Well, I think that Missouri situation raised an interesting example of what you do when you've got a problem. The election officials had made some mistakes and didn't get people's names on the rolls, forced them to go downtown and wait in line and then come back. The judge found that these people were not going to be able to vote unless they kept the polls open longer, which is what they did. When in doubt, you let people get a chance to vote. The Republicans were in the strange position of saying, shut down the polls so these people cannot vote. I think what the judge did was a reasonable thing to do under those circumstances. If they can't vote that night, there's probably no way to fix it.
Mark, if there are some sort of irregularities, if let's say Missouri didn't properly plan for the turnout or whatever, and these problems maybe with registration or whatever, and they need to double check on names, if there are these problems and Americans want to vote, what is the problem with keeping it open an hour or two just so they can register to vote?
You know, that would make sense if you kept both Republican and Democratic areas open. But unfortunately, this was sort of selective.
Oh, it says Bush-Cheney statement expected shortly, okay? When we get it, you'll hear it. If we get it. Here's a mobile in Pompano. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Jesus Christ, man. This is a joke.
Speaking.
I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
I'm not familiar with all the
Wait.
I mean, look, let's just...
Oh, I thought she had the statement. Go ahead.
I'm not familiar with all the ins and outs and the numbers, and I don't want to go into all the crap because I think that a lot of this is... I voted for Gore, but I think the fact that he stopped campaigning in Ohio is a joke.
Yeah,
the fact that he lost his home state is a joke. But the bottom line is he's got to get Florida. And with all the numbers that you're hearing, what's your gut feeling? Do you think he can do this, or is
I haven't got any idea.
Impossible?
I haven't got any idea because I don't know what the remedies are going to be. We have no idea how many ballots are in those boxes, even though we know that the overwhelming majority are for Gore because they're from black districts. But I have no idea.
I don't get it. I mean, George made a good point. He said that Bill Nelson was elected by about 5 percentage points.
Right.
There is no way that Bill Nelson would have won and Bush wins the presidency.
Well, I can see that maybe a half of 1% of the people who voted for Bill Nelson, or maybe even 1% voted for Nader. Okay? But even giving that leaves 4% margin there for Gore.
Right.
Not to mention, of course, all these ballots that conveniently haven't been counted, which means probably that Bill Nelson won by a hell of a lot more than 5%.
And at this point, the only state in question is Florida, right? Everything else is locked up.
Oregon, I think they still have it, but it's a moot point. It doesn't make any difference. Oregon's
no, but I mean as far as the situation where the voting is so close that they would have to recount. So far, Florida is the only state.
No, Oregon.
Okay, and Florida, and just coincidentally, his brother is up in the governor's office.
That is just another one of those strange coincidences, right?
If these two sons of bitches, mother scratchers, don't wind up out of it.
Yeah. I think we ought to do. Let's put the Bushes in lockbox. What do you say to that? Let's do it. What do you say?
Oh!
Now, are they going to have this speech on there or what?
On another edition of Burden of Proof.
They're all done. They're finished. Roger and Greta. Bye-bye. It says circumcised Julios for the impeachment of Jeb Bush, hermano del Antichrist G.W. Bush. Yep. Un hermano malo, malísimo. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. 77% of the people in this crowd don't have any faith. They don't believe the Florida election results from last night. They're dubious at best.
This is 560 QAM. Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale. A Beasley Broadcast Group station. WQAM.com for the world.
It's the 1 to 2 hours. I need another abortion and I need it fast. I feel like a baby's hanging out my ass. I'm hobbling and having trouble lifting my feet. Panic with the picket lines down the street. It's the abortion shuffle. The abortion shuffle. The pastor got me in trouble. Clean me out on the double. Strap me in the stirrups, get the feet out of my bay. Take from the juices that I use and squirt, and lactating milk all over my shirt. I'm walking like a gimp, taking baby steps. As it marks on my perfect eight, spread and stretch to the abortion shuffle. The abortion shuffle. And the hanger on the double. Spot the waterfall. Strap me in the stirrups, get the feet out of my face.
The eye of the hurricane, because it's here that the ballot will be reported, the new count will be made. But this is how it occurs, and that voting is going on right now. We have live pictures from Broward County where the recount has begun. The precincts will recount the ballots. They go to the counties. The county recounts. They have those counts. They move them upstairs here to the 18th floor of this state capitol skyscraper here in Tallahassee, Florida. There they will be
my buddy
calculated.
Jess from the Valley Park in Poplar Park is one of the guys counting votes in Broward.
Give them. It won't be one total of all the 67 counties. It will be released county by county, so you will be able to keep your running total. It will be on the state Florida Division of Elections website, and this is all due to happen over the next 2 days, although most of it should be done by later today.
Sure.
The counties have until around 7 o'clock tomorrow to get this process done. Clay Roberts, who's head of Division of Elections here, says he wants to make sure it's done absolutely right.
We're going to be very careful. That's why we didn't want to press the supervisors to finish up today. We understood that while the people of the state of Florida deserve a quick resolution to this issue, they more certainly deserve a methodical, a diligent, and an accurate resolution.
Okay, here's a fax that somebody sent to Florida Secretary of State Division of Elections, Diane in Palm Beach County. She says, many Palm Beach voters, myself included, believe that a challenge and or opportunity for a second vote is in order based on the confusing manner in which the presidential candidates' names and punch-through holes appeared on the county's ballot form. And for you Republicans that want to keep faxing me stupid faxes and making a personal attack against me, hey, maybe you can call the people in Palm Beach stupid, but how do you explain all those goddamn boxes and boxes and boxes full of ballots that were never counted from black precincts, huh? Not to mention the roadblock by the state troopers up there in Tallahassee. All these isolated incidents, and the one up there in Volusia County, where evidently chaos and corruption were running rampant late last night. And isn't it a funny coincidence that Volusia County, along with Dayton Broward, was one of those last few places where, for some strange reason, they couldn't get those votes counted there real late at like 2:30 in the morning. Anyway, she goes on to say, South Florida will determine the outcome of the presidential race, and several thousand Palm Beach County votes are now in question due to the aforementioned problem. Effective immediately, my neighbors and I will begin a petition to request a challenge to the presidential results in our county. To contact one of our community volunteers, sign the petition or call 561-963-3298 or 561-963-8112 or 561-543-8646 or send an email to jumpjupiter@AOL.com or bbnest, BEBENEST @AOL.com or FERCOM@AOL.com, FERCOMM, FERCOM@AOL.com for the nearest petition representative. At a time when literally every Florida vote counts, it must be sure that this confusing ballot doesn't erroneously determine the outcome of the next president. If we're able to have integrity in government, it must start with the voting process. Therefore, we need to determine from your office how many signatures will be required to challenge the Palm Beach County presidential results and the deadline for submission of our petition to your office. And it goes on. Also, Florida State Representative Chris Smith of Fort Lauderdale is encouraging anyone who voted yesterday in Broward or Palm Beach and had problems at the polls in whatever way to write down their stories in as much detail as possible and fax them to him as soon as possible. He's heading a bipartisan effort to file lawsuits in Broward and Palm Beach challenging the results of the election. He asks that you include your name, address, telephone number, and precinct where you're registered. State Representative Chris Smith, that's who you want to be writing to. State Representative Chris Smith, and his fax number is 954-762-3745. That's area code 954 Broward, 762-3745, State Representative Chris Smith. Here's a lady in Boca. Hello.
Neil?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Are they keeping track of where the boxes are? Because so many are just sitting there. Like, I know there has to be a scandal.
There are just a few over here and a few down over there, and they just all happen coincidentally to be in these areas where almost everybody who voted was black.
And last night, when they prematurely gave Gore Florida, they showed Bush, and he was sitting there all calm.
Yeah, very
he said,
confident.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah, they knew the outcome. They knew that the fix was in.
This makes me sick.
Well, hopefully we're going to unfix it.
All right.
Okay, sweetheart.
Thanks.
Hang in there. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Yeah, maybe you can say, okay, those people up there in Palm Beach, they're old, they're stupid, whatever. They can't blame it on anybody else. They're irresponsible, whatever that asshole Connie Mack said. But that's only 3,400 votes. What about all the other thousands of votes? What about all the other boxes that we don't know about? Boxes full of ballots that never were even opened. Thousands and thousands. We don't know how many.
They're stupid, too.
Oh, that's right. They're stupid, too. I forgot. Oh, is this one of the... Who's this?
Transparent, to be credible. We want Americans to feel confident about that result. That's why we will respect the process, stand to assist in the process in any way, and make sure that we will continue to follow that process and assist in any way that we possibly can. Again, what Democrats want is what all Americans
this is a Democratic
want.
guy. Like I said, he's a good guy. I mean, not that I'm partisan. Am I partisan? You bet your sweet ass I am. Maybe I wasn't looking when they had the Bush-Cheney statement on there. Because the Democratic guy says, we'll go, oh, this is Joe Andrew, DNC chairman. Thought I saw him on the Talking Head shows before. Kind of a wimp. 9 minutes after 1 at 560 WQM. Had a call from our good buddy Nick down there at Nick Cigars. George did a little while ago. And you know what he said? That Frank guy in our sales department, Frank Mayer, he's an asshole. That's what he said. He said he doesn't service the account. He keeps trying to push him to advertise on other schlock stuff on his station that he doesn't want any part of, tries to keep separating him from his money, knows that he isn't delivering any of the cigars or stuff that he sends to us. And, Nick, if you're listening right now, and I hope you are, don't ever give that man another cigar, don't even give him a light. Unless you light his rectum, that's it. Which could be any part of his body. Don't give him anything. Just send it directly to us because that Frank Mayer is a jerk. Amen. A big, fat jerk. Okay, whatever you say. 113 at 560 QM. Here's a fax William from Miami says, change the name of the Sunshine State to the Dumb State. When some asshole leaves a ballot box behind in a church, that tells me the mentality of the schmucks in Dade County. When I went to vote, the woman behind the desk couldn't even speak English. There ought to be a law that if you work for the state, county, or government, you must speak English, but not in dumb cities, says William from Miami.
Only in the Banana Republic, baby. Only in Miami. Freedom stand, let's bury our heads. Freedom stand, let's bury our heads. This is the biggest crap I've ever seen.
All right. 115, Banana Republic is an understatement. In fact, I think that most Banana Republics would be insulted to be lumped in with South Florida. 5-6, and in case anybody tuned in late, what do we know about who won the election last night for the president?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we know. We don't know. We know there was lots of hanky-panky, lots of ballot boxes that for some strange reason, most of them in almost all black precincts, never got picked up and the votes never got counted. About 3,500 votes in Palm Beach that wound up going for Pat Buchanan that were intended for Al Gore. I mean, see, it's not one thing or the other. Maybe not one of these things will counterbalance those 30,000 out of the country absentee ballots. But you put all of these things together. You put the allegations of voter fraud in Volusia County in there, which Volusia County is very heavily black, I should point out. Put all that together, and you got what makes for pretty interesting, pretty disturbing, and pretty unacceptable. That's the word, Jeb. Unfreaking acceptable. And, of course, how does it look even to the most partisan of the partisan, even to the dumbest of the dumb, that here's a state where the guy who's running for president, his brother just happens to be the governor. And is sitting around there with him, and they're all having a big coffee clutch and looking very relaxed and confident, even though they're like, at that point in the evening, look like they're getting their ass kicked. Not just here in Florida, but at that point where they were talking to him and they had the cameras in there, which they invited him in there. There was that cocky, arrogant thing again. Like, oh, we're not worried about that. We got that taken care of. Well, how many votes you got wrapped up? Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And, of course, you know, when dead people are voting, I mean, there's no limit on dead people. Just think of all the dead people there are. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm 24 years old. I'm registered. I was a registered Republican, and I've seen the light, and now I re-registered as an independent. I wanted to vote. I did vote for Gore. My grandmother, who voted in the last election for Clinton, went down to vote, I should say, yesterday, and they told her that they didn't have her on the list. And I know that she did register because when my mother went down to register, she had brought her down. So they turned her away. That was another vote for Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm disgusted with the state of Florida at this point in time. I don't understand why, and none of this is on national news. When this Ilian Gonzalez thing was going on, every time
24 hours a day, round the clock.
Or Lazaro picked their nose,
right?
It was on the news. But now this is the most corrupt election that I've ever in the history of in the union. And
I'm hearing the rumor that the reason that all those boxes with ballots disappeared is that Lazaro was the one driving them around trying to find where to deliver them.
Yesterday on the news they said 8 ballot boxes from Pembroke Pines were missing in action for 3 hours. Where were they for those 3 hours?
And now they're finding ones today after supposedly they got 100% of the ballots counted, which obviously they don't. They're finding ones today in churches in Liberty City, down there in Perrine, which is almost all black. All these, just a coincidence that's in all these black precincts that they couldn't find these boxes full of ballots.
Well, what I want to know is why isn't this on CNN? Why isn't this on any of the national news?
No, it's been on there. Of course, they're too busy talking to all these talking heads, but it's been on there for like 30 seconds, you know.
That's what we get. It's 30 seconds for the most corrupt election that's going on.
Well, if they found alien in one of the boxes, they'd probably spend the next 30 days on it.
That they would.
Good luck to us, pal. Hang in there.
Thank you, Neil.
Bye. Bye. 5670560. Okay, what's Al saying?
I've all doubt as to what would happen in that situation.
Oh, that's an old interview. That's ancient. See, just like the young guy says here right now, how come they're not talking in great detail about these guys, all this hanky-panky down here? And for all this talk about the liberal media, CNN has been so goddamn skewed to the Bush people, you have to wonder if Ted Turner needs the money. Maybe he lost a few billion somewhere. Maybe he gave a few billion too many away to all those charities. Maybe too many of those bad will games. Maybe he had to give Jane too much in the divorce settlement. Who the hell knows? They suck. In fact, you know something? Why am I watching them?
Dean Reserve is there on a chilly day in Austin. Dean.
We don't want to see Jeannie Reserve or the Federal Reserve. What bell number is, here it is. Like I said, come on, let's get this thing going with this goddamn remote. 356, let's get on the stick there.
We've got to figure out an easier way to decide this.
Well, that's right, and I think what the Gore campaign is going to have to do is following the certification.
Jane Abrams, MSNBC News.
They are going to have to say, are we convinced enough that there were major problems in various areas of Florida, such that we want to keep this going? They, at the very least, have to wait for the results of the recount, which we're expecting sometime tomorrow afternoon, no later than 7 p.m. tomorrow. And the counties, we're going to hear about various counties' results coming in as they're completed. But at that point, when they get those results, that's when the campaign is going to have to say, okay, do we keep going here? Do we really believe there was either some sort of fraud, some sort of intimidation, ballots that haven't been counted, all of those issues, that's when they're going to have to make that sort of
decision. In the meantime, you've got lawyers tripping over each other there, and probably it sounds like more lawyers on the way.
Oh, there's no question. This Capitol is going to be filled with lawyers. Both sides are going to have representatives there present at the counting, the recount. But that's again why I say that's almost the least interesting of the various elements that are occurring right now, because there are all of these other possibilities about different ways that this vote could be challenged. But again, the question is going to be, how far do they want to take it?
Okay, put a lid on it, Dan, okay? You just keep saying the same stupid thing over and over again. They'll take it as far as it's necessary to take it so that we actually have the real winner of the election comes out. That's how you do it, especially considering the fact that Gore won the popular vote by 248,000 now. 250,000 votes, he wins the popular vote. And we're going to give the election to the other guy based on a dubious outcome here in this corrupt state of Florida?
No.
I don't think so, Dan. It ain't going to be quite that easy. You're not just going to hand it over on a platter. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T Verizon wireless line. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Yeah, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Neil, I thought of a possible upside for this yet another disgrace for South Florida in the eyes of the nation. I thought that maybe after we recount the votes under the scrutiny of Bob Butterworth and Warren Christopher and the U.S. Attorney's Office, we find out that 10,000 dead Cubans registered for a vacant lot in Hialeah voted for Bush, and they overturned the election based on that and the missing ballots that were hidden.
Yeah.
That and they give the state and therefore the election to Gore, they might find out, see all the crap that we're in here in South Florida and start to change their immigration policy and start sending back.
Okay, great. Sending all the Cubans back. That's what he said. Here's somebody who says, I'm a 35-year-old white-collar professional with a postgraduate degree in near perfect eyesight. Even I had to remove my ballot to double-check it to make sure I punched number 5 for Gore and not number 4 for Buchanan when I voted yesterday. How do you like that? It says, don't get me wrong, up here in Palm Beach County, we certainly have more than our fair share of redneck fascist whack jobs who indeed may have voted for Buchanan. But with a population of about 1 million, how could Palm Beach County have shown 3,000 votes to Buchanan compared to just a few hundred votes in Dade, where the population's over 2 million? Besides, Ralph Nader was supposed to be the spoiler, not Buchanan. Something is very wrong, and I hope Jeb Bush is working just as hard at figuring that out as he is at making sure his big brother's elected president, but I don't think he'd care less about the former. Says Eric in Palm Beach. Good luck to us, Eric. Pray for us. Put your hands together, sweetheart, and squeeze real hard. Here's a call in Kendall. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Channel 4 reported at about noon that the ballot boxes they're finding all over the place do not contain empty ballots or punched ballots. What they have is just materials such as telephones, forms, whatever, left over from everybody, working yesterday.
That's not what CNN reported. That's not what CNN said.
I just heard it on Channel 4. They verified it was somebody working there.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. Anyway,
maybe the ballots wound up in the dumpster.
Oh, God. All right, Neil.
Okay. Yeah, bye. Put it away. And the keychain, too. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Coral Springs. Hello.
Hey, Neil. Yeah, back to the national news last night. I actually called SCN, CNN, and Fox News, asking them if they knew, because it was talked about yesterday afternoon all day long on local radio, if they knew about the Palm Beach County ballot problem. They all said they knew about it, but once again, you never heard about it. There was not one report all night until 5 in the morning about the Palm Beach ballot problem, which was unbelievable to me.
I mean, we had calls, and even though I was dubious because I didn't understand it because I had seen my own ballot in Broward and it wasn't like that.
Right,
but we had calls on the air like that yesterday. And how come, if they're supposed to be like doing a service to the public when the polls were still open till 7 o'clock and people were in line till like 8 o'clock, how come they weren't on there all day alerting people to that?
Exactly. Now, a couple of questions. Hypothetically, because the talking heads and the Steinmeisters for the Republican Party were saying that Gore should concede anyway, just like Nixon did, even though that election was so close. It seems like they were saying that even if Gore conceded, that would supersede this recount. Is that true or not true? I'm assuming that the recount would have gone on anyway.
Of course not. I mean, if they would, I don't think so. I mean, there's always the opportunity, just like he did last night. He said, I changed my mind.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Last question.
I mean, unless they actually officially, made it official and said we're willing to wrap it up and we won't challenge it. Yeah, at that point. And I don't know what you're talking about. Nixon never. What election is that you're talking about?
No, in 1960 they were saying that Nixon conceded, even though it was a 100,000 vote differential.
Yeah, but that wasn't the point. The popular vote. It was the electoral vote. Kennedy got over 300 electoral votes.
Correct, but Nixon was taken to challenging the Illinois vote because of what Joe Kennedy.
Well, yeah, but it's hard to challenge dead people.
Well, last question: when the president appoints or nominates a Supreme Court justice, how many votes are needed to confirm? 2/3, or just a simple majority?
2/3.
So you know that at least for that reason, at least even if Bush gets in, at least we don't have to worry about Supreme Court justices, because this is going to be a complete deadlock until 2 years from now when the Congress definitely goes Democrat.
I'm not positive if it's 2/3 or not. The more I think about it, I don't know.
You agree about that? I definitely think that in 2 years the Congress is going to go Democrat, which started last night, but they couldn't pick up enough seats. They got close, but not enough.
Okay.
Thanks.
See ya. Maybe, I don't think we're going to be having another election in 2 years, are we?
No.
No, I think this was the last one. I could be wrong about that, King George. Oh, that's right, we already had a King George. He talked with the list. 126 at 560. See, now I'm starting to do it. WQAM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Anybody have a heart or a liver?
No. Tonight, A&E goes undercover to reveal a frightening aspect of who could be the next president of the United States. George Bush is the Antichrist.
Of course I care about all the issues facing America.
And your mother is hung like Rosie O'Donnell.
Like all candidates, I support term limitations.
Not a chance, assholes. The new millennium is all mine.
Unlike the previous administration, I'd bring dignity back to the Oval Office.
Yeah, after I rip off your skin and snack on your balls.
Join Sam Neill, your host for tonight's A&E, George Bush, the Antichrist.
Okay, it's 131 at 560. I think the Chupacabra is more likely. 29 before 2. Hank Goldberg will be along at 2 o'clock. Here's a fax from that was sent to Jane Carroll, Supervisor of Elections in Broward County, from Mike. He says, I'm discouraged and somewhat suspicious in light of issues surrounding the 2000 presidential election. Firstly, my wife, Anna Maria, was recently naturalized as a U.S. citizen, along with countless of thousands of new citizens in the Broward Convention Center in September. We promptly obtained and completed her voter's registration form. We carefully filled out the form together, being sure to complete it. We were returned a letter rather than a voter's registration card, stating that the form was either damaged or incomplete. The letter further stated that she would not be able to vote in the election. She registered as a Democrat. Secondly, it's interesting that a misalignment of ballots in our county seems to have caused many Gore voters to unknowingly cast their ballots for Buchanan. Strange indeed how many thousands of new Democratic registrations were damaged or incomplete, and yada yada. He's looking for an explanation. Nice going, Mike. Good luck to you, and good luck to us. 5670560. How's the poll coming? Do you believe in the election results in Florida were honest yesterday? 469 say
no.
78% aren't buying it. 95 say yes. That's 15.7%. I'm sure that one guy's voted 100 times and still only got 95. And don't know 38, 6.3% out of 602 votes already. They're skeptical, they're dubious at best, and enraged and furious at worst. How do you like that, Governor? Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Okay, on the topic of the missing or some would say suppressed ballots. Okay, I happened to notice yesterday at a particular location in Dade County. Okay, there was one ballot box yesterday that was not even picked up after trying to contact these people a number of times.
Yeah.
Okay, they never turned up to collect it until this morning. Okay.
What about this guy who says Channel 4 claims that there was nothing in these boxes besides the election materials and there were no actual valid ballots?
Okay, and to the best of my knowledge, there were in excess of 100 ballots in there, all for Gore.
Uh-huh.
Okay, they did not turn up to collect it until sometime this morning. And at the time that they came, Channel 7 was even present. Okay, and I've been following up on the news since this morning, and I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know if you have, but I haven't.
Only from you. Well, listen, keep looking in the dumpsters and find some more of those ballots. Okay, good luck. I'm sure they're probably like the dumpsters all over the state. They're just loaded with ballots, especially from the dark votes. They didn't like those early returns, man, 93 points to 6. They didn't like that. Here's Lake Worth. Hello.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
When I voted in Palm Beach yesterday, when I left the building, I actually had a small doubt whether I had cast my ballot for Gore or not. And if I had that problem, people who are older and have trouble, seeing, they could have definitely had a problem.
Right.
And I just wanted to ask you, do you know whether or not it was both parties' responsibility to actually okay the ballot the way it was set up beforehand? Whether there was a responsibility?
No, the supervisor of elections does it, and of course that guy that called before, which has no credibility. But he says she's a Democrat, which regardless of that, but the fact is that it's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Here's the email address for Governor Jebster, jebbush@jeb.org. That's one of them anyway. Jeb Bush, one word, Jebbush, jebbush@jeb.org, as an orgy. Here's a call from Weston. Hello.
Good afternoon, Neil. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Quick little statement there. My boss was telling me that he just moved to Boca about a couple of weeks ago, and they told him that, for him to re-register, he won't be able to cast his vote in this election. Him and his wife are going to vote for Gore, so that's 2 more votes right there. But isn't that pretty sad that you can't register up until the week of the election?
Well, that's the law.
Why? Why does it have to be that way?
Well, I'm not saying it has to be, but that's just the way it is. I mean, I can't, you're calling me here isn't going to change the law. And in fact, there are a lot of states where you can register on Election Day. It's just another example of how the government does everything in their power to discourage people from voting, and then they like to bitch and wring their hands and say, oh, nobody in this country wants to vote, and what a terrible turnout, and yada, yada, yada. There are places where you actually can vote, and there are all kinds of different things. Like in Oregon, there is no polling on Election Day. It all comes in by mail, which is probably why it's taken so long to get the Oregon vote. They still haven't declared a winner in Oregon with their 7 electoral votes. Not that it's going to make a difference, but that because they do it all by mail. And I guess the mailmen, probably like they do with those Social Security checks, they stop, take a little coffee break. Well, let's see. Here's folks talk about those ballots. Let's see. Hold it up to the light there, or just kind of rip it open and see if I agree with it or not. And then maybe we'll just kind of Schmidt can it. Here's a lady in Boynton Beach. Hello.
Hi, Neil. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Just want to tell you something that happened to me. I moved from Sunrise to Boynton Beach. And it's no better. And when I went to change my driver's license, they do the voter's registration. And they ask you the questions, and they give you the card to sign. This is for the voter's registration. I did it. I signed it along with my husband. When it came time to vote in the primary for, the primary election, and Nelson was on one of the, I couldn't. They couldn't find my name. Where did they have me and my husband? Independent. I've never been a registered independent. Called the Democratic, somewhere here in Delray Beach. They couldn't give a hoot or a holler. Called up the voters registration, this Lepore. Couldn't give a hoot or a holler. So really, if people don't watch it, although you can vote for the president, but even if it came for like senators or down to the line, you can't vote. You can't vote in the primary.
Well, good luck to you, sweetheart. Make sure they straighten it out.
Okay.
If we have another election.
Hey, Neil?
Yeah.
I had a problem with my ballot, too, in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
All right.
Good luck straightening it out.
Thanks.
Get an alignment. Yeah, they should have given them a front-end alignment there on those ballots. That was the problem. Here's a question on the fact that says, if ballot boxes are sealed to make sure they haven't been tampered with, how could they use them to store office supplies? Good question. Because the one they showed on on CNN earlier was locked. It had a padlock on it.
Maybe they put those telephones through the little slot there.
It had locks on it. And they said, oh, that must be one of those Drew Lieberman boxes. Don't look at that. It had locks on it. If you open it up inside, you'll find the bagels and the cream cheese and the chives, too. 22 before 2 at 560 WQAM.
Get the best of Neil Rogers 2000. A benefit for Planned Parenthood. Just go to a Specs Music Store near you or WQAM.com on the net. The best of Neil 2000 with great hits like
I need another abortion and I need it fast. I feel like a baby's hanging out my ass.
Oh, those timeless classics. The best of Neil Rogers 2000 from Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Florida sucks.
Every time I have to look at Joe, I can't help noticing how much he's snoring. All that cocaine rotted his brain. Inside his nose, nothing else remains but nasal passages. That's why George always thought he had no nasal passages. He bought a team to inhale the perfect line. He was born into money, but he's so goddamn dumb. Without it, he would be a homeless bum. Life at the party is a solid day. Left in the just for a breath and the nasal oxygen. That's the reason he's forever rich. He has no nasal oxygen. I bought my ticket and I'm holding my passport tight.
145. This all blows. You can say that again. Say it again. Thank you. Here's a fax from somebody who says, what did Miguel want? He keeps walking in and then he runs out. As soon as I look up, he runs out.
There you go. He wanted to know where the van was.
Oh, the QM van is at the Citgo gas station at 58th Avenue in Hialeah from now till 2, another 15 minutes. How are they doing over there? With Joe Costello?
Don't know.
Oh. Well, that'll teach him to go there, I guess. Anyway, here's a fact that says, I'm so certain that the Bushes and the Republican Party made sure they had a dirty plan to ensure Bush victory, yada, yada. It says, if you want some interesting reading regarding Reagan, Bush, that's Papa Bush, and Cheney, and their true agenda for this country and the reason why it's so important to them that they win this election, plus some really enlightening information about how corrupt they really are, buy this book at Amazon.com, Transformation of America, P-R-A-N-C-E, Transformation of America. It's $15 by Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. Thank you, M, whoever you are. I don't like giving names out on the air. They valued their life. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Yeah, Neil, I just was wondering if you could find out, in West Palm Beach on the voter ballot, since Buchanan was on the other side of Gore, who was on the other side of Bush, and did that have any effect, too? I haven't heard anything about that.
There wasn't anybody on the other side of Bush.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering. I thought maybe, they might have had another one on the other side, and I just wanted to clear that up.
No.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. No, nobody on the other side of Bush. Let me get that. If I got in here, I've only got 60,000 pages of crap, plus I'm totally incoherent from sleeping about 3 hours, but that's okay. That's okay. We're here to do our duty, to do our best, even though I'm my level of optimism on a scale of 0 is minus infinity. No, there's nothing opposite Bush. It's kind of, you have to really see it. In fact, you can see it by going to, I'm glad you called, because that reminds me, I forgot to mention this, Rich Pachter faxed me this. If you want to see the Palm Beach ballot and see why it's so confusing, go to this website, sun-sentinel.com/elections/palmbeachballot.htm.
Or you could go to our website.
Oh, we got that on there?
Yes.
Oh, great. Nice going there, Eric, sweetheart. Go to neilrogers.com, like I said. But thanks anyway, Rich, and regards from Paul Harvey Jr. Oh, in fact, there was a guy at the game last week, at the hockey game, sitting in front of me. He was totally bombed out of his skull with his wife or girlfriend or whatever. Sat in front of me. Didn't belong there. The ushers came and kicked him out, and then he came back again. Turned around and said to me, oh, it's an honor to sit in front of you. I'm a friend of Paul Harvey Jr. I sure hope he's not there tonight. Here's Miami. Hello. Miami.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Something to think about. I'm a long-time Republican, but I am so ticked off at Bush. First of all, they started cutting down these citrus trees.
Oh, wait 1 second.
I want to assure them that should the election go the way that we think it will, that I will work hard to earn their confidence. America has a long tradition of uniting once elections are over. Secretary Cheney and I will do everything in our power to unite the nation, to call upon the best, to bring people together after one of the most exciting elections in our nation's history.
Yeah.
That's extra.
Oh, that's it. That's all I had to say. Like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. First of all, Bush is cutting down our citrus trees here in South Florida.
Yeah.
The people are making $100 a tree. Somebody's becoming millionaires.
That's right.
Because of our citrus trees.
That's
now,
correct.
Think about this. What a coincidence. A week or so before the elections, they stopped cutting down the trees.
Well, that's what I said when the release came out, that they put a hiatus on it until November the 8th. And I said, that's coincidental because November 8th happens to be the day after Election Day.
Exactly.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Let people calm down a little bit.
I have sent emails to Bush, and I haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah.
I am so ticked off with them. It makes me sick.
I really believe that there's got to be a recall campaign against Jeb Bush. He's got to go. The corruption in this state and the flaunting of the will of the public. I mean, this man is crooked as the day is long.
Just wanted to bring that out to everybody so they can think about it.
See, we don't have a real government anymore in America. We have a royal family now. The Bushes. Used to be the Kennedys, but now we have the Bushes.
Yep. Let's send some emails out. Let's see if we can stop them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck to us. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T. So what was it that he just said, George W? Yeah. He said, I'm going to win. He said, the fix is in, I'm going to win. Something like that. He said when he was on TV last night from the room, he sent a subliminal message to all his supporters down here in Florida.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
He's got a big heart on.
I had to buy a Cadillac, a big stinking coupe. I wish I had my money back. It don't do much good standing still. Those rackets down the desert way. Those greedy selling law. Let's get deal with the oil land. And now we're getting robbed. Look at the gas prices. Falsely they rob. Falsely they rob. Gasoline gas prices. Falsely they rob. Falsely they rob. If we'd only grow a pair of balls, we could self-destruct the grave. Fire up the jet fighters and blow those towel heads away. Happy gas right there. Falsely they rob. Falsely they rob. Happy gas right there. Falsely they rob. Falsely they rob. Happy gas right there.
155 at 560 WQM. If you didn't get any of those numbers, if you're looking for some help, if you tried to vote in Palm Beach yesterday and you thought that your vote got wasted and wound up going for the wrong candidate, or if you tried to vote anywhere and you weren't allowed to vote, or you had any other kind of a problem or irregularity, not that kind, but a voting irregularity, just check on neilrogers.com, which is a lot easier than giving these 85,000 other websites, and Eric will have as much of it there as we can. It'll be there. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Is it me, Neil?
Sounds like you.
Okay, I never called before. I listen every day, but today I kind of felt compelled to. I don't know if anybody presented this scenario to you yet. I feel like I got fooled yesterday, like I left a game before it was over. I was in line in Weston with my girlfriend, Hope. Somebody had a mobile TV, and they announced that floor had one floor.
Right, this is just what I said before, exactly.
I went home.
Uh-huh.
I worked 12 hours a day. I'm tired.
Nice going, networks. Nice going, your national networks. You're a bunch of grave robbers. I'm going to tell you right now.
I feel like an idiot.
These people, no, you're not the idiot. The people in the media are the idiots.
I went to sleep when I got home. I woke up today, and I got goosebumps on my arm telling you this story. I am pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to waste your time.
No, you're not wasting my time.
I hadn't heard anybody say that to me.
Can you imagine how many other people probably did the same thing?
Yeah, it was like when it happened. It was like at a game when you go home. There was I have people all around me doing it. I didn't leave alone.
Okay, kudos to the great media again. Thanks a lot.
All right,
good luck.
Listening to you,
okay,
Neil.
Thanks. How do you like that? Just what we said earlier in the show, and it's not only Democrats. Same for the Bush people up there in the Panhandle, who are in a different time zone. Up in Pensacola, for example, or in Central Time. You people in the networks, I've said it for years now. You're irresponsible. You're a bunch of grave robbers. All you care about is who gets it on first. You've got no credibility whatsoever.